Hit that subscribe button. Let's get started.
Hello, friends. I guess you got to turn the mic on, don't you? Just checking in with everybody. Just thought I would jump on here and see what everybody's up to. Let y'all know that I'm still alive and kicking. So let me verify I'm working. I am. So I will wait for some people to jump in. Again, this is just a hangout and we'll talk about whatever. I'm going to be looking for some files here while I wait for you guys to show up. Hello, Miss Crystal. So you want to jump in? Let me know. I'll put up the link if you want to jump into the chat. Again, this is just a hangout and discussion for anybody as people show up. We're live on YouTube and on X. So, anybody wants to jump in here, I can. Matter of fact, I'll do this just because it was discussed the other night. I guess I have to do it into my comments there, and then I have to go into my YouTube and do it also. But of course, if I go live on my own screen, it'll start making noise. So, well, hello, Miss Sherry Shane. Just to hang out, discuss anything we want to discuss. Anybody brings a topic, we can discuss it. So let me jump over here to my live thing and pin that comment. Sorry, I had to mute myself because I would be hearing myself. There you go. There's the comment is now pinned down there on the YouTube side. So if you're watching on YouTube, then you'll be able to get to the link to show up over here as someone who wants to join in. So let me turn this off now because I don't need to see myself twice. I got two screens here. This is the side over here where stuff's going on, and that is a very interesting thing happening there. So what Sherry's talking about here in her comment, and let me, that's what I was trying to do, is trying to get some files. I should have done that, I guess, before I sort of went live here. I was posting up some information the other night, and I have some files that sort of showed, let's see if I can bring up, that one's not good. Well, I'll bring this photo up and maybe we can use it to discuss with it. Let me go back to present here. Image file. I tell you, it's a lot of stuff you gotta do if you're gonna do all this stuff. Okay, so there it is on the screen now. So let me bring the image file up. See if I can make this so that you guys actually see what I am pointing at. And I don't know that I can here. Let's see, because I just closed out the image. And you're not seeing my pointer over there. So let me bring it up on screen as a whole image, and then I should be able to, I need to share my whole screen and you guys should be able to see it. So let me do it a different way here. Okay, let me share that screen now. Let me remove that and share the screen to you. So Entire screen right there. Now, you should be able to see my cursor and stuff. Can y'all see my cursor on there? I know there's a setting on that too. I don't remember. But okay, so if we're looking down here, it's very interesting whenever Chris McDonough was talking about this, and it takes someone with his experience, his abilities to understand stuff. Let me take this comment off just because so you can see everything there. It takes someone with his level of expertise and experience and knowledge in all these different things to understand what he was seeing there. And he noticed that as the blood left the porch there, see, you guys are not seeing my zoomed screen here. Oh, I'm sharing the wrong one here. Let me remove that one and bring up this one. Okay, there we go. So I was zooming in right here. So as you come off the porchway, the walkway here, so the Ring camera is back here. This is the walkway leading down. Here's the steps right in here. I know it's blurry because I'm zoomed in so far. But what Chris is saying and what he sees from the videos and all that stuff is Nancy's blood trail goes down through here and goes out through this pathway over here. And now one thing I got to thinking about, sorry, I was reading your comment there. One thing I got to thinking about is the fact that, so everybody's been discussing, about the blood trail over here. It looks like maybe a wheelchair wheel, a track in the blood there on the porch. And what if that's possible and they came right down through there following my, okay, yeah, you're seeing my cursor on the screen. Came down through here and they got down here, and the handrail is right in the middle of the stairs. And with her in the wheelchair or whatever device they were using to remove her, they couldn't go there because it's not wide enough for a wheelchair. And I think that when I bring up Google Earth, let me continue talking here, and I'll bring up that image. They come down through here and they had to go this way because, let's imagine, as you guys are seeing me here on screen, imagine I'm in a wheelchair, just like I'm sitting in my chair here, and imagine her being slumped over to her left, which would make sense that, let's say, as they brought her out of the house and put her into the wheelchair that's at the front door to remove her from the house, and her body leans over to the left like this, imagine the blood pouring out this way if an injury has occurred up here in her head or upper body area, and the blood starts pouring out, which would make sense that it was on the left side of that exit of the house. And then they go down the trail down through there. They get to the stairs and go, oh, we can't go this way because there's a handrail. We can't fit her through there. So they had to go around to the right, which is to the left as we're looking at this image. But imagine them coming down that walkway and they had to go out to the right and out through there and take her out that way. So my thoughts are, looking at these images, again, this is just a blown up version of this, but do you guys remember when JLR took us up here? He walked up the street around this corner and he brought us up here and was telling us about this house being vacant. And I think there was some work being done on it. He was talking about the parking right here, how you could easily walk down this pathway right here and come in right here. And that's the comment right here that Sherry has made about how close her bedroom is to the neighbor to the left and to the back. And that's based on just, our visual seeing of these images like this right here. So, you see how close this right here would be where her bedroom area is, right here in this little patioed area. And which from the images, and again, I'll switch to Google Earth here and I'll show you exactly where I got these photos from. That wall is, there's a reason why they didn't drag her across that wall. I mean, it's pretty high. It's to the point where it's not like you can just toss her over there. 150 pounds, if that's what she weighed, is, even though it sounds light, 150 pounds, you ever picked up a bag of concrete that weighs 80 pounds? It in itself is heavy. So imagine doubling that and trying to throw it over a fence, and much larger and all that stuff, being legs and torso and all that stuff. So, 150 pounds is not an easy task for anyone. So that's why I suspect that they probably came through the house, even though we've heard other things about it being immaculate and all this different stuff. But, people have been discussing about a vehicle parked over here, and that's why they had to remove the camera. Well, when you look at this camera angle, even when you see the camera shot of porch guy, you looking out, you're looking right down this driveway here. You're seeing this section of the driveway with that camera, which makes sense that that's why they had to remove it, so that they could get her to a vehicle or something. Now, we don't know how far that blood trail goes. We know it goes over into here. We know this right here is the area where the sprinkler head was busted, right over here. But we don't hear them talking about a blood trail out through here. So I'm wondering if they came down through here, had her in a wheelchair, couldn't go down there because it's not wide enough with the handrail right in the dead center of that walkway, went out this direction to try to get closer, maybe turned around right here and drug it backwards off this wall with her body in it into a car right here. I don't remember the whole thing about the wheel marks in the driveway here. I think somebody verified those were not there on the second, and it happened afterwards type thing. So I don't know and remember all the stuff. So much information that, you just can't remember everything. So, again, these are just my thoughts on stuff, but I've heard people talking about parking a car over here or something like that. There is no way to park a car over here. There's this thing right here. I know Alex and JLR were talking about this the other day. That green box is right there. This area right here. Let me take this off the screen for a second, and let me bring up. Let me bring up Google Earth here and show you what I'm talking about on there. What's funny is, for anybody who has not tried to go on Google Earth to Nancy's house, you can't do it. It's blocked at the end, like down at the end of the streets. You can't come in from there. But if you go to where you're allowed to drop your little man and do the walk down the street, you drop it up there, and then you use the triangles, the arrows. Let me bring up my screen here. Hello, Miss Kimmy. Hello. Thanks for stopping in. So as you're looking at, exactly, that's my thoughts. So, could they have eventually pulled the car? Are you guys seeing my cursor on the screen? It does not look like it. Let me see here. I don't think it's letting my cursor be seen on the Google Earth deal. So, let me go back to, let me pull this out as a single tab and then share this screen with you guys. So, so many things you got to do in order to do this, just so y'all know. Share screen, entire screen, and I want this one. Okay, now now you're seeing my cursor. So I had to pull this out as an individual screen and share this screen only. So, yeah, if you try to drop if anybody who knows how to use Google Earth here, you'll notice right here. So if you come to the address, her address is no longer listed on Google Earth. Also, just so you know, it shows her address as a totally different address on Google Earth, which is strange in itself. So, but yeah, so what I end up having to do, I can't drop right here in front of her house, even though the physical place is on Google Earth. You can't drop your little man. You know how normally you get out here and you take your little man and drop him down the road. It changes the streets blue, and that tells you where you can drop your little man so you can look around. You can't do that in front of Nancy's house any longer. You have to go all the way up here around the corner up to that house that has the parking and drop him there, and then walk all the way down the streets using these arrows right here. So in order to move, you got to click on those arrows. So this is what I wanted to see, show everybody from a street view of what it looks like. This is why I say the only place to park a car was in that driveway, if that's where they went to. You could not park a car anywhere else. I mean, you can see how thick the brush is, you can see the rocks, all that stuff. But the reason I went to Google Earth here is I was trying to locate the sewage, that thing, the thing that's in the ground, the manhole cover part of the septic tank. Septic tank's the word I was looking for there. So I was trying to go to this image right here and then zoom into the image and see if I can see something. Over here, you see all these rocks. You got a cacti right there. You can sort of see that pathway, that area that leads back behind. You see how tall that wall is outside of her bedroom. Right there is how tall that wall is. That's why they didn't take her and throw her over that wall, because it would be a very challenging thing, even for a grown man to do, no matter who you are. I'm just telling you. But you see how there's all these rocks all over the place? And so I was looking to see if I see any manhole covers or anything like that, septic tanks or anything like that. There's that. This is called the ground vault, where services are connected from the main lines that pass underneath here in this direction, and then they feed up to the house via pipes and stuff like that. That's where those connections are made, whether it be cable, internet, those type of things that are inside there. And there could be water connections if you go up just a little bit. What I noticed here is there's pipes in the ground right here. You see there's like a little ditch line that probably where the water runs off. Remember that house we found out the other day when Alex was showing that shot of the car that looks like it's sitting on Nancy's roof and it's behind it. So this all slopes down gradually towards Nancy's house and across her property. And here's the little ditch that causes the water runoff to lead away from Nancy's house and area. So, but again, it's interesting that you can't go drop your little man into the front of Nancy's house. You have to do it this way. So again, I was using this right here to look for manhole covers or anything like that. I think her septic would have to be somewhere over in this area. I don't see him putting it right in the front yard. It's quite possible. I mean, it would have to be below the level of the house for stuff to run to it when you think about septic tanks and stuff like that. So let me see here. When Juice went out with Lauren, when there was a full moon, and he said he could see down the street, it wasn't pitch black. When Juice went out with Lauren, when there was a full moon, and he said he could see down the street, it wasn't pitch black. Well, again, it's still pretty dark out there. And I agree that, different times and stuff like that, there is a sense of visibility, but, we know about the bite light, and I'm pretty sure I'm the one who told everybody about that bite light. I don't have my helmet in here, my bicycle helmet. I've got one of those things that we would consider a bite light on my helmet, and it's just got a little push button. And he has one in his mouth, and that's what he uses to get around right there. So anyway, going back to this right here. Yes, Sherry, I also have septic, and it's funny. I was going to go take a photo of my septic because I know Kenny showed his, and his is visible, and it's got a manhole cover and all that stuff. Mine, I invite anybody that wants to come out and find mine to come find mine because we've been looking for hours for a little while. Mine's out way out down the hill here, back where my original the property, the house was built. They had a trailer house sitting here for the doctor who built my house before I bought it years ago. And so their septic was down there, and then they tied the main house into the septic that's already down there. So it's just piped all the way down there type thing. But it's way down the hill, and it's covered over by my front yard. You can't see it. You can see the lateral lines whenever, you can see the grass is greener in certain areas. That's how you can tell where the lateral lines are. But I've had a septic company come out, and they can't find my tank either. But it's a big concrete vault. Another thing here in Oklahoma, back at my old house, the one I had in the city, I had a tornado shelter put in, and it was a septic company that come out and did it. And it's basically the same thing. They just put a door instead of a round cap that, everybody thinks of that we're looking for this round circle cap. That's for the septic. But when they do a storm shelter out of it, it's the same vault. And this one I had was 11 foot long by 7 foot wide by 7 foot tall. And I mean, it was a big tornado shelter we had put in our front yard because that's the only option up in Oklahoma City whenever we had ours there. But it has a door that you open the door and climb down the stairs and you go in there. And so sort of the same concept here on these septic tanks. They're big. They hold a lot. So, but I don't see anything visible. At first, I thought maybe this right here was like a lid to the septic service, to the septic tank. I mean, and it could be. It's just got a rock on it type thing hiding it. But most times, I don't know what it's like in Tucson, but here in Oklahoma, I mean, mine's completely buried. You cannot find the lid. And I've tried to get the records from the county where my septic service was put in, the original house site and all that stuff, and they don't have it on file type thing. So we're still trying to find it. I guess we're going to have to do what they do is if I needed repairs done or something like that, they send a thing, you flush it down the toilet, and it's a beacon thing. They go in there with a probe and above ground, and as it goes down the pipes, they're able to track it. So, and it's think of it as a sniffer, which we want to do a sniffer down the septic. Yes. So that's what I was looking for in these images. But again, over here in this area right here is where you can see the front door right in here, the archway. And then the sidewalk comes down through here at this angle over here. So what I'm saying is when they come down, they took her out to the rocks over here. Over here's where a sprinkler head was broke that JLR was showing us. I don't remember if it was to the left or right of this chimney right here. So this right here would be like a den or a living room. I think we said the living room was back here in the center, which this right here leads into. I don't remember the layout of the house, but there's the fireplace. So I don't remember if that broken sprinkler head was right in here or right over here on this side. So, but I mean, when you look at this image right here, thinking of them bringing her down the sidewalk, cutting through these rocks and all this stuff, that's a lot of stuff that they would have to just drag her through. There would be something disturbed, out of place, visible to those investigators. So why wouldn't they just go on down this trail right here? But as you get over here, you notice it sort of has a switchback and it comes back over here. So I don't see why they couldn't have went down through there, got over here, and then brought her to a car and over here instead of, if they have her in a wheelchair because she's either too hard to manage or handle or carry, and they had to put her in a wheelchair type device to get her to the car, I don't see them taking them out through this trail. I think they would come right to this car, and it would have been a car parked here. And after the camera was removed type thing, obviously we'd see images of them taking her out of the house. So we know the phone was left at the house. So 147, I think, is when the camera was taken down. 149 type time frame. We know the disconnect happened from the phone and the Bluetooth, and that's a whole other subject we'll discuss. I posted on X about some of that stuff. So in the area of 2:28ish in the mornings, whenever the thing disconnected. So it could have taken them a while to load her into the car. She's still right. If her phone is right here on its stand in her bedroom, that's still within connection distance inside the house for that Bluetooth to be connected from her pacemaker to her phone. Her phone being over here in her bedroom, her pacemaker being with her in her body. And it was still sending the signal because the phone is connected to the Wi-Fi. The Wi-Fi does not connect to the pacemaker. The Wi-Fi only connects to the phone. The phone connects via Bluetooth to the pacemaker. And so whenever they left with her out of here, that's whenever the disconnection, I suspect, would have happened. Now, which direction they would have went, we don't know. So again, if you're interested in seeing any of this on Google Earth, you can't search for her address. You got to search for this address right here, the 5824 North Camino Escalante. So let's drive up the hill here since we're here and some of you guys may want to see some of this stuff. So here's Alex Island right in here. And as we get up here, so this general area right here, let me drop it on up here a little bit. Okay, so Alex has been hanging out. Alex's new apartment, as he calls it, is right in this area, right here inside this island area. And if you turn back toward Nancy's house and look, you'll see, and now granted, I can't move over here to be exactly in the direct line of sight, so we may be blocked by this thing. But if I click on the arrow here and I tilt and rotate and I zoom out, I might be able to show you what I showed him the other day. Nope, not from this angle here. I think I have to really zoom out to do this. But anyway, so looking right here towards this big palm tree is where Alex was looking at, and he saw the car. It looked like it's on Nancy's roof. It would be right over in that general direction. So that's what that area is. This right here is the house that is getting the pool installed. I don't know if y'all can see it, the address there. But from what I understand, this right here is the house that is in discussion of, the pool getting installed, and the rock thing, sifter that Alex was showing the other night is right there, is where it would be sitting now. And then you drive on around here, you have I have to check that out, if that's part of this house or if that's just a neighbor's house. You can see other houses and stuff. There's somebody standing right there. Y'all see that person? Just in the photo, I'm just saying. We know whose house this is. The lovely friend of everybody, Sue Ellen. She lives over there, or does she live down here? I think she lives right here. I'm pretty sure this is Sue Ellen's house. It is Sue Ellen's house because it connects to the road down here. If Nancy was wrapped in sheets or tarp, possibly, there would be no tracks as opposed to a wheelchair. This is true. But I still think it would require multiple people to carry her out in sheets or a tarp type thing to get her to the vehicle. There's so many questions and things that we go, okay, so if we have a sheet or tarp, I mean, there was no drag marks as one individual would have done it. they could have used a wheelchair where they're wrapped up in the sheets, and that could have just been blood leaking out, of all that stuff. Also, there's just so many what ifs that we all wonder these same questions. We've done our due diligence in the fact of we're trying to find answers, but with no information to go on other than what we can find, and we're seeing it here, then that's what we're going on. What are your thoughts about the medians and what they say? Some claim they consult with law enforcement. Oh gosh, this is a very touchy subject. I have honestly never dealt with them. I've listened to things in times when there was medians involved. My question is, if you have that information and you can figure it out, we're on day 124. And so I have to say that, if you're that psychic and you can talk to the powers that give you the information, then tell us where she's at. Quit giving us half the hint. Give us the whole hint. Don't tell us she's at a lake. Tell us what lake. I'm not discrediting them. They all have their means. It's no different than anybody sitting here deciding they want to listen to what I have to say. If I tell you something and you believe it, then you expect that I'm telling you the truth. So if a psychic's telling you information and you believe it, then you believe in what they're telling you. So I'm just saying. Well, hello, my friend. Janie, so let's ask you, how do you feel about psychics? Hello, Miss Donna, Mama Donna. Everybody that knows Miss Donna, follow her on X. So, I mean, that's just my thoughts on psychics. I'm not discrediting them. I'm just saying, if you're going to tell me that you have the power to talk and hear and feel and know, tell us. Quit telling me to take a trail and figure it out from there. Tell me the location. Just saying. It's all about what you believe, folks. It's all about what you believe. Now, going with, let's see. A legit on that is a God-fearing, hold on, Streamlabs. Oh, look, if you type too much, this thing, Streamlabs is a live moderator, so don't take it as I'm telling you that you type too much. It's just, I've been trying to figure out how to make that thing be a little bit more easy on people, because you can see it done smacked you and said you're typing too long, too much. So I'll try to go in there and adjust it. So don't get mad at me. I'm still working on all that stuff. It's just a moderator that's attached. That's not a real person. It's an AI bot that just automatically detects what people say and all this stuff. So it just tries to help. So don't say sorry. It's just one of them things. So now let me try to go back and answer your question. A legit on that is a God-fearing lady came out and did research. She was literally in tears to find out what she was being told. She said Lower Tanque Verde Coronado National Forest. Right. I do believe that. And wasn't there something about her saying something about green trees and stuff back towards El Paso, towards Texas type thing? Is that the same lady? Do I remember that correctly? And again, I'm not doubting what she says. I'm just saying, give us all the information. You can't be stringing us people along that have simple minds and we're trying to figure it down. We got out our little notebooks, we're writing stuff down. You can't be telling us, look for the green tree on the left. Because I look around, I see green trees all over the place. I don't know which tree to look at. I ain't got time to look at all the trees. Now somebody's messaging me. It's my wife. She knows if she needs to talk to me, she can just text me. She must be doing that on Facebook. So, yeah, don't be sorry about it, Jamie. It's I believe in the Almighty God. I believe He can reveal things when it's needed. I believe in the Holy Spirit. Amen. I understand. I mean, it's one of those things where, again, I've said it's all in what you believe. So, if you believe that mediums and psychics and all those people can lead you to the information, then that's what you believe. Sherry Shane, Kev, years ago, my large dog passed away. I threw him over my shoulder in a blanket by myself. He was 100 pounds and was in my 50s. One person can do it. A dog is a little bit different. I'm telling you, a dog, even a large dog, is more controlled. Just like the bag of concrete, 80 pounds of concrete in a condensed area this big. Yeah, most people can do it. But when you take somebody who's 6 foot tall, or I don't know, 5'4" in this case is what Nancy, I think, was, at 150 pounds, it's a lot harder to control that. Yeah, it can be done. You could carry them out of the house by getting them over your shoulder and, all that stuff. But you're not going to take and throw them over a wall. You're not going to load them into a car. It's a lot harder. There's going to be, for instance, unless he opened the trunk of a car, the lid, the hatch on a car, and had that thing open and just walked up and just rolled her off his shoulder into the car, and then had to get her legs in the car and all that stuff, there's still going to be scuff marks in that gravel of his body doing the things that he needs to do to get her into that car. There's going to be marks of distinction in that gravel that I think would be highly visible. Hello, Miss Fiona. Thanks for stopping in. New comments here. Oh gosh, now I'm way behind here. Janie says Linda Carabello. I don't remember the names and all that stuff. Stopping in real quick on a break. Thanks for stopping in. I appreciate you. Janie says, oh, that's terrible. I hated it when Jim had to come across them. Yeah, I remember seeing some of them on Jim's stream and all that stuff too. It's part of life, and as much as we all don't want to see it and all that stuff, and it does happen. And yeah, I mean, people were just taking them out there and just throwing them out in the field. So, how many months back can you go with the address? I often wonder if Perp tried to hit the Jim house. Are you talking about here on Google Earth type thing? How many months back can you go with the address? Well, the thing about, if you're talking about Google Earth, the crazy part is I mean, it's what it is live, and you can see right there, it goes away. See it right there, the image 2026 imagery. So these have been pretty recent that these images are up, but I think they put a block on people searching her address, just because, I mean, you see right now, I'm technically in front of her address right there on her mailbox. And you see where it says right here, the address is. I got a box on my screen, so I can't see if y'all are seeing that the address up there. But another thing I want to point out right here is, sometimes when the streamers are out there and they're showing somebody on the stream, something happening, come down the driveway, and they just show us something real quick. We don't get to capture the details of what's actually occurring. That's strange. Look at that. Is that asphalt underneath the gravel that's on her driveway? This right up here, we know it's pea gravel, but that right there looks like asphalt in there. And this is from a 2026 imagery shot right here. So I'm wondering if back in the day her driveway was asphalted. Now it's got pea gravel. Now take a look at that right there. See this right here? These are dog tracks. I suspect Javelina's tracks right through here. And again, this image was taken before the incident. There's no trespassing chains up here. There's no there's none of the memorial stuff set up over here. So this is obviously taken, and it doesn't show. I swear it used to. Oh, this right here shows November 2025. See that right down there? I don't know if you are seeing it. Let me move this. Yeah, see right down here, November 2025 is when this image was taken. So, but what I wanted to show you in this part right here is see how this right here, there's a little bit of a ledge of a wall. So we know that they come down the sidewalk from the garage and they go around right here around the edge of the house. So there must be like a little sidewalk pathway made out of pea gravel around through here, maybe. And we suspect this is where the suspect was walking right through here, because remember, he comes in from the left, looking out from the camera's view. He comes in from the left right over here. He doesn't come up to the sidewalk part right there where the handrail is, which would be right through there. See how it sort of slopes down? It comes around through here. So I suspect he came up here, stayed tight to the house or up against this area, and then went into the front doorway area. So I suspect that he probably parked over here. If he's the one who brought a car and had a vehicle over here, which would be our idea of why the back doors were done the way they were. So Janie says, what do you think happened? I've been on the train, the A&T train, since day one. There's just too many things that just says we have no proof that she ever left their house. Now, if the Uber driver, they're telling us there's an Uber driver who picked her up, there's video they've seen from sheriff's, FBI, whoever has reviewed that video footage of the Uber driver taking her over to that house. That's all we got. We can't bring her back home from that house. We have no proof that she was at that house other than supposed the Uber driver took her over there. Okay, so now take me from their house where the Uber driver says he dropped her off at. Get me back to her house. I know her phone's at her house. I know her watch is at her house and all that stuff, her hearing aids and all these other things that we're being told are at her house. But all that stuff could have been brought from their house back to her house. And I know you're going to ask, okay, well, what about the phone disconnected from her? It could have disconnected from her over at their house. Her body could have been at the house, and they brought the phone and her other devices back to the house and reconnected them. And yeah, I know there should be something, digital evidence that says this is when the phone connected, this is where the phone was at. It should be able to triangulate it based on cell phone towers, blah, blah, blah. We don't know that they don't have that data. We just know what they're telling us. So anything is still possible. All these things that we all have been thinking in our minds is still possible. But, you know, my thoughts are whenever she was brought back to the house, if y'all have watched the interview room and Chris was bringing up those footages and images up here by the garage, and you see those tire marks, let me see if I can find those. And I would discuss it. To me, those look like, again, the tire marks don't line up where Nancy's car is sitting in the driveway, because if you look at her car in the garage, if you look at the driver's wheels, they're turned slightly to the left. So it looks like, you know, the car arcs and goes into the driveway when she parks to try to get over far enough. I don't doubt that part. But the problem is, you know, she doesn't back straight up. Most people, whenever they back out, they back straight up. They don't try to do stuff where they have to get around stuff. So, you know, it's, especially as you get elderly, you want to be able to pull straight into the center garage. She has one car. She's got 2-car garage. I don't see why she don't just pull straight into the center of the garage, slightly off a little bit, so that when she opens her door, if she's still driving her vehicle, She opens her door. She gets out. She walks straight forward, goes straight into her door, in that area. But her car seems to be more offset to the passenger side over to an area where it would make it difficult for an 85-year-old lady to use her mirrors and see all the stuff, the wall that's next to her. When you look at that car in that photo, she's awful close to that wall that would be the right side of the garage door, that would allow her to back straight up. She would have to turn her vehicle to be able to back out and clear that post that's holding the door to get out of that garage. And then she has to back up. She'd have to back up towards the casita to drive her vehicle. Now, again, we don't know how long it's been. I think her friend said that she does drive often and all that stuff. We know she took an Uber, maybe because it was going to be late when she got home. Maybe she only drives in the daytime. There's so many things that we all just don't know that we ask these questions. So, but when you look at those images that the interview room was showing, to me, those look like either somebody came up the driveway fast and made a left-hand turn and stopped all of a sudden right there in front of the garage. Maybe that's when the 948 to 950 happened. And then they backed up and left type thing. But it doesn't look like there's yaw marks and stuff like that whenever your tires squeal on pavement or in gravel. If it had been a stopping where the brakes and the tires locked up as they slid into there, there'd be a pile of gravel at the end of that. If it's a peel out mark where they gassed it and got the hell out of there, there would have been a lot rocks slung towards the piled up on the concrete type thing. But there is definitely visible marks where a tire was drug. So, just more things to look at. But if you look at it on the video part as they pull in, it sort of looks like a set of tires that does like this, and it comes to a sudden stop type thing, if you ask me. So excuse me while I cough. So those are just some of my thoughts on that stuff. Let's see if I can see from this image. I could click out of this, but if I do, it takes me out of street view, and then I have to go all the way down the street and walk it all the way back up here. But over here behind these bushes, up here past the casita, is where those tanks were in the ground. We saw the guy probing with a long stick. And those are, I know some people are saying those are septic tanks, but I don't believe they're septic tanks. I believe they're cisterns. A cistern is a water holding tank. And basically, it would be something where, hello, Mouthy Mama, thanks for stopping in. It would be like a water holding tank. And I think, and I'm going to have to go look and review. I mean, yeah, I know we're 124 days into this, but I think her guttering system from her house has a gutter that runs into a pipe. It doesn't just flow out to the ground. Again, I'd have to see if I can find this information and review it. But if there's pipes connected to the end of the gutters, then it goes over to the cistern that collects the water. And that water, I feel, is either what is used to sprinkle her property and water her flowers and plants and all that stuff whenever there is no water, or it's the makeup water for the pool system. And it's put over there because you don't want to put it right in the middle of your yard type thing. And it was buried probably when the pool was put in. And that used to be the pump and house like stuff like that. I mean, granted, they built it with a bathroom, a bedroom, and all that stuff. So it was built for a purpose, the casita, what we would call the pump house, pool house type deal. But I believe the cistern is a clear rainwater collection only. It's not septic. I think the septic for the casita is going to be maybe on further back because there is other visible lids back there off of some other views. So again, those are things. It's one of those things where I'm 1,200 miles away. I can't go check this information. A lot of you can't go check this information. We can only go on based on what we can find out and try to go from there. So I heard she shared an address with a neighbor at one time. And since the mailbox is on the side of the neighbor, it could have just been the wrong house. Talking about right here. I mean, because they've got a mailbox down there too. I don't know that I would, unless maybe being that she had renters at the casita, that they had like 5820A North Camino Escalante as A being the casita, type deal, or hers is something like that. I can see that, but I don't see like 5820 sharing with the neighbor over here type deal. You know what I mean? Maybe you can help narrow that down for me. I wonder if he hung out in casita until she got home. Again, these are just things that we don't know the answers to. Again, we still got to bring her home. We got to put her at home. Just because her phone and stuff's there, we still have nothing that puts her at home. Her blood was on the front porch. We still haven't proven that she physically was there. And I know that sounds gory and gruesome and all that stuff, but I mean, they could have taken blood from another location and put it there. So, do you have any information about the burner phone call that was mentioned very early on, half a night of abduction? I haven't seen any information on that. I know there's things that, just like the video from the 857 with that guy that now we're all talking to. Everybody see the stuff that he's saying on X to me? The guy who says it's him? And I'm like, dude, have you ever heard of Derek Colella? The guy put himself into the situation by calling the victims in this situation, called the folks as victims, trying to get money out of them, talking about the Bitcoin and all that stuff. And so he wasn't involved, and he put himself into this situation. And so this guy's been saying stuff about it was him that, was in the car that 857 interviewed and said that, he was asking weird questions. He asked some weird stuff, y'all. Stuff that was just wild. What does he care what the neighbors think? It's just weird how he said that. What do you do? I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's just been there for years. It's just where it's at. What's this orange thing right here? Almost looks like an electrical line, extension cord type thing laying there, don't it? Yeah, you would think it would have been up here where like you could walk out your front door, go right to it over here type deal. But who knows? Maybe it couldn't be as crazy as some of the things are in Pima County. Maybe you can't be within 10 foot of a cross T intersection on a north parallel divided by a south equator +2. So who knows with the way they do stuff. Yeah, so I mean, the cistern thing, I'm pretty sure those tanks over there are cisterns, and I believe it's going to be like a makeup water for the pool. Instead of having to use your house water, you can just pull water from the cisterns from rainwater that gets collected and pumped to the pool by valve or whatever, and you tell it to divert to the pump to the pool or to sprinkle the yards. I almost bet it sprinkles the yard instead of being off of her actual house. So, oh, hello, Miss Linda. Be careful. Don't use those caps too much, or that custom moderator there. She'll get you. He. I don't know which one it is, but it's Streamlabs, and I'm not even on Streamlabs. I'm on StreamYards right now, but the moderator is built into YouTube. it's from Streamlabs. You add this moderator, and it drops the hammer on you. So I'm sorry, and thank you for stopping in, Ms. Linda from Brandon, Florida. And that's why I'm saying it, because it automatically pops up there and it gives you a warning. So most of the ones I've heard are talking about being up in Mount Lemmon, and I heard someone mention near Lily's possibly. And I think that's probably the lady that I heard in the early on, something about Mount Lemmon back towards Texas, because that would be towards Texas, right? That direction, up the hill here. Because I think, am I wrong here? Ain't that the area towards Mount Lemmon right there? Maybe a little bit further. I don't know. Type deal. So, Ms. Donna says, "Do you have any information about the burner phone call? I wonder why it came through twice. Call as mentioned early on happened night of the abduction." I think we answered that. Now, I don't have much information. We'll have to see if we can find something on that. I feel like the weeds that they used to yank the Nest camera off was on top of the blood, which makes me think blood was there prior to guy on camera. I don't. I think what happened, and again, I think it was just that whenever he used those weeds to rip the camera off and all that stuff, they were there, they fell down and all that stuff. They were still there. The event occurred, and either the wind circled around and caused a vortex inside that little entryway area. If even a light breeze would cause a vortex to whip that around. I think if we went and looked at some of the images, we'd see somewhere blown off the right-hand side of that little walkway area that leads in the front door, and they were laying on the ground. Some were also right there, but also the javelinas. I fully believe that the javelinas could have come through there in a fresh flower, because a flower in itself may not be as potent flower-wise when it's just sitting there as a flower. But you know the old saying about fresh cut flowers, whenever you cut them and yank them and pull them and whatever, then they emit their fragrance a lot more. I think it may have caused the javelinas, who we know come down there. We saw it live on JLR stream that day. They came right down by the face of the building, the face of the house, and went right into the front yard area, right down along that porch line. And it could have been easily something that caused them to go in there. Boy, that's a face. Good old Pima. I'd say, Cheryl, did you stop writing just so you didn't get smacked? Again, it's an automatic thing. It's not. I've been sitting here talking to y'all, so you know it's not me over here smacking you. So just be careful, Miss Cheryl. Giving us the smile there. No, again, Linda, don't be sorry. Just know you just got to be careful. And if it gets to the point where that's just upsetting to people, then I'll go on and remove that dang thing. But I mean, for right now, it tries to keep the world peace on the interwebs here. So, well, again, I've been busy. Well, so for the most part, I haven't put out this video. I made a video on my way to my son's shop this morning, explaining some things, just some things going on, personal stuff. You know, young son recently moved. He moved to California. His girlfriend lives out there, and he decided he wanted to move to LA and try things out in LA. You know, and I said, okay. So it's just one of those things where I've been dealing with that, been working on some stuff behind the scenes, you know. Let me see. Let's see if I should let y'all see this. You know, I've been printing out something for a long time. let me remove this from the screen for a second here. Bring me up because I know y'all love seeing me, right? Been working on something, so let me change. Let me take off my background here and let y'all see my world behind me. If I remember how to do it, visual effects. That's it. Okay, let me turn off my background. Okay, don't look too. Let me cover that up right there. Right there. Let me cover that up. Let me cover that up. So they go up. So I've been working on something. As y'all can see, I've got a ton of stuff right. It's so hard to use a camera when it's mirrored and backwards, just so y'all know. I've got a ton of 3D prints up there waiting to be painted, y'all. I got a new thing over there. Let me use this all of this hand. See that right there? That's a new thing I'm working on. So I just completed two things. You remember I was working on the what was that thing called? Yeah, memory issues. As you get older, you'll have memory issues, folks. Dadgummit, I forget what it's called now. It's a statue for my son. I was painting it, and he's the one who claimed it live here on a stream one time. And he's like, "Oh, I want that one." So he got that one. His 30th birthday was here a couple of weeks ago, and so he claimed that one. But I had something in my sleeve. I was actually printing him out one, but I had to finish this other project I was working on. So, sorry, I hope I didn't bust anybody's eardrums. So I had another one, Deadpool. See, sometimes the Rolodex spins and you just got to wait for it to stop on the right page. Deadpool. So I did a Deadpool bust from the chest up of Deadpool for him that I was working on. Gave that to him for his birthday because I knew I had this other one that I don't remember if I took video. I think I've got it on my phone. I'll upload it to X maybe when I finished it and got it completed. And I took it to the shop earlier, making a video. I was driving over there showing that. So I've got some other projects. Miss Peggy from Texas. Get my big dome out of the way. That's her favorite thing right there, because we all know she loves clowns, right? And that's Pennywise, and she can't stand that Pennywise. So every time I work on that, she stops watching me. So, you know, I can't do Pennywise too much. I'll start losing followers for some reason. But yeah, I've got a ton of things up there on the top shelf that I've got to work on and keep painting and all that stuff. But I'm working on a sniper deal right there in front of my eyeballs. But let me move out of the way, because that thing that I've been working on, I haven't fully completed the printing part of it because I haven't decided what I want to do. But the character is done. I just haven't finished the table part that I told y'all about. Because I think if I print out the table part, it's going to be so freaking big. But when y'all see this thing that's behind me, I don't know whose house I'm going to put this in, because it would take up like my whole room in here. So without further ado, y'all ready? Here we go. Y'all see how big this dude is? I mean, that is huge. So you see the parts of his arms right there. And figure out how to make this hand. Oh, there we go. So I go out. Okay, see this right here? These are both his arms, and he's holding up the table parts. But I haven't finished printing the rest of the inner parts of the table. I've got some of them done, because it would be huge, round. So Tasmanian Devil. I've finally got all the printed pieces. So there's 67, which I've got wrote down here on the clipboard, of every piece and how much time it took to print each one. So you can see those spaces, the voids right there. That's parts of the table that I didn't print yet, because I could go with like a piece of glass and just set it on those pieces right there. Yeah, wherever my fingers are. That thing right there, I said a piece of glass over to the other piece over to there. or a piece of small wood, and he could hold it like that. But so if you look at him, let me get my body out of the way here. This right here is a tornado right here. And then this right here is this is going to be painted as a rock pathway, and it's got some foliage down here, and it comes all the way around. So I've got to paint that now, and he'll probably be sitting over here somewhere in front of this French doors over here leading out to the back deck. Probably where I'll put him, but he's also, he's available if somebody wanted to buy him type thing. So anyway, that's some of the stuff I've been working on. Other than that, I mean, back over here behind me, I've got a ton of other things going on, prints and stuff wise. So now y'all know where I've been and what I've been doing. I've just been trying to focus on that, trying to just get some things done. So, but I appreciate you saying, you miss me on the streams and all that stuff. Again, and I said it in the video that I haven't posted yet. I'll probably put it in my YouTube here after a while. But I basically tell everybody that, for my channel, yes, I want to do the airbrushing, and there's other things that I may get into, some stuff people are not going to be interested in. Like if I go ride my Can-Am somewhere, hit a trail somewhere, I'd have to record it. Eventually maybe I could, if I decide to get a Starlink or something like that, and then I could show some live stuff, but for me, I'm not out there in Tucson. I just can't drop everything and drive out there and go ride the desert looking for Ms. Nancy. And as much as these things I'd love to be, just starting out my channel. Maybe eventually if my channel has some followers, then I could possibly do that. But right now, I just can't do that stuff. So let's jump back into some questions here. Jane says, but Lay left the weeds behind the camera mount. You think that should have been checked that for DNA? I would not suspect there would be any DNA on it, in the sense that the guy had on gloves, and the fact that the weeds, they're not a porous granted, there could be a hair or something there just from, even an arm hair could have fell out from beneath his jacket or whatever, and could be intermingled there. Any of that stuff's possible. But I really don't suspect there would be too much DNA found, whether it be saliva or anything like that, in those flowers, because he had gloves on and there was just so much different stuff there. But Sherry says, I miss you too. The collaboration was great. Again, I don't have no problem, and I don't think any of those guys, I was going to jump on Alex's last night, but I didn't have my hair combed and all that stuff. So I didn't want to scare anybody. So, by then it was too late. He already had like 6 to 8, 25 people lined up waiting to jump on stream with Alex last night. So I decided, I just hang tight. I was watching and all that stuff. So, but I appreciate you guys letting me know that y'all miss me. Again, I'm no different than anybody else. I'm just a guy who shares my thoughts and all that stuff, and got past the fear of getting on YouTube, and here I am. So again, if there's anybody, I don't know what the hell, I guess you'd show up. Anybody push that button to jump on stream with me. And if there's anybody out there who wants to jump on stream, here, let me repost it. I guess that's it. You'll show up over here in my thing, my stream backstage peoples and all that stuff. So you show up there. Can somebody dress up like Nancy and the Uber driver comes and wouldn't know that it wasn't Nancy? One thing that we all should remember, that anything is possible. I mean, anything is possible. But do I think that would have happened? I don't think so, because I think, based on what we have been told, is that the Uber driver has been interviewed and they've seen the video from the Uber ride. So I think they're just not showing us those videos because those are my questions too. What was her state of mind? What was her attitude as she went over there? Was she excited about going playing mahjong with friends, with family? Was she angry? Was she? Um, was there issues? Did she discuss anything about, oh, my kids want to borrow some money from me and I'm going to go over and tell them they ain't having it, blah, blah, blah? Because those would tell you the whole demeanor of what her intentions are as she went over there. So I think those are very important. Unfortunately, we just don't have them and know them. So, but again, when we all sit here and ask these questions and say, is it possible? I have to say that anything is possible. I mean, if we can think it up, then it's definitely possible. All these things that we've been asking is it possible is definitely possible. So they're going to be pretty cool, Miss Janie. I hope to paint some of them, especially the big Taz deal. I want to paint that. I'll do videos at least, whether I'm live or not, which y'all know I'm most of the time live, but it's not something that interests a lot of people. But, it gives us a time to hang out and just chat like this. I'm going to start doing a lot more just hangouts like this. I'd rather, again, I've said this also. There's a ton of true crime community people out there. So it's sort of hard of one of those. It's like having a car wash in a town. What's the use of opening a car wash if you've got 25 car washes already available? It's not logical to do that. My channel is more of a whatever the subject of the day is type thing. And I know that don't sound good for, people who want to focus on Nancy. And I agree. For the record, my mother's name is Nancy. So it's one of those things where I know it's personal to a lot of us. We've been involved in trying to find this information and all that stuff. And we all want to talk about and discuss the stuff of this case. So it's just one of those things where my channel will be, sort of whatever we want to talk about and do that day type deal. And me sitting here on video, if you guys want to come on, then, we'll do that type deal. Miss Cindy, it is 4:30 here in Oklahoma, which is now 4:45, which means I know what time it is, but I'm not going to give out your location. It ain't time for dinner yet. Come on now, Miss Cindy. And I appreciate you for stopping. She's a good friend, Miss Cindy. Let me see where we got here. Janie says clowns are creepy. Ah, come on now. I've said it. My daughter-in-law. She's scared to death of clowns. I'm gonna take that over to her house and stick it in her closet or something. Scare the crap out of her. Summer Girl C. The photos were taken after the crime scene had been opened back up, so the foliage was probably kicked around by the many other people that had been in and out of the house and porch. While that is true, I think majoritively, for the most part, everybody that went up there, even the journalists and all that stuff, Brian Enton, who went up and walked up there with that video, Michael Ruiz, I forget who, I think Michael Ruiz took that video, the Fox Digital, of the blood trail going up the sidewalk, and that's what we've all seen. I think they were I think those guys were more vigilant and observant of the evidence that was there and didn't touch it per se, more than what we would think that the people who found her missing or the people who showed up to investigate this, so, Summer, please refrain from sending along messages. That's not me. I'm gonna have to go in and remove that if it keeps messing with my peoples. So I'm sorry, Summer. Yes, Miss Janie, that is, well, you can't see it because I got my background on now, but yes, that's Tasmanian Devil from a cartoon character. Can you zoom in on him, please? I can't But if you follow me on X, then I'll get some new updated photos. My camera don't zoom, is what I'm saying. I mean, I could bring him over here, I guess, if y'all really want to see him, but I can't zoom with my camera. It's a cheap Logitech camera type deal. You need a long pointer finger. That's what I'm saying. Oh, you talking about the one on the screen, or are you talking about this booger picker? You need a long pointer finger. There it is. Long pointer finger. This is my favorite so far. Well, I appreciate you. You're talking about me, right? Or are you talking about one of those things over there? I thought you was talking about me. Okay. That's the link. If anybody wants to jump on screen, I think it'll pop up and tell me that you're here and you're wanting. Hell, hopefully there's nobody like hanging out backstage going, "Would you push the button on me?" Have you seen the video by 857 on the 7th day interviewing a guy in a blue Toyota Camry? Yes, Kathy Ivy. I suspect, well, being that your comment is coming from YouTube, that maybe you're not on X and maybe you haven't seen all the stuff over there. I have the same name on X, Captain Kevman on X. If you search for me, I just did a video. I did a commentary thing on it this morning on my X, a long post. That's what I'm trying to say. I did a long post about it, just talking about that whole thing. So if you're not on Twitter, X, then there's a ton of people that are commenting here in these comments that you're seeing here on my YouTube. They are friends of mine on X, and that's where the majority of their information, they see a lot of stuff. So where did you get the Captain Keenan? I think you said, where did you get the Captain Kevman? Which would be from Captain Caveman. Just made it up, the Caveman name. So yeah, that's exactly, because that's their next question, is the Caveman name. Sort of from Captain Caveman. I never was a captain in the military. It was Captain Caveman. And if you look at it and you say it, it can be either Caveman as Kevman or Kevman. So just trying to be something different. Captain Caveman. I don't know. What do you think of that guy, Aaron, and his knowledge of Bitcoin is slipping and said I instead of he? I think it was just, I don't think Aaron has anything to do with it. I think Aaron is just a very methodical thinker. He's possibly someone who has, and again, this is not any slam towards Aaron or anyone who has autism or anything like that. I don't see him as someone who was of concern in the sense of there's people that I talk to on X, there's people who I watch on YouTube who are just as methodical in their thought processes and all that stuff. I think he's just no different than any of us. It's just that he puts a lot of thought and processes the data that he receives via YouTube, via the information that's shared, let's say from the interview room. He goes in depth in his own mind and he has to think things out and really fact check it to himself. And I think he's just a guy who's very interested in the cases. I don't see him as someone who would be involved per se. I think if the FBI had a suspect or even someone like that, just like I tagged the FBI in that video thing from this morning from 857, I posted on X. I included them into the post just in case it's one of the things where they haven't seen that information yet. Or, here it is. That happened on day 7. And here we are just seeing about it again, per se, on day 124. And maybe it's, I don't remember it. I don't know that I even knew of 857 back on the 7th day of this search. I can't say that I do. So I don't know that I would have ever seen that video. if it had not been brought out. And again, Daphne's Case Files is the one who supposedly brought it up and discussed it. I hadn't seen her YouTube on it. She follows me on X. I follow her on X, but I haven't seen that discussion on that. So, shout out to Daphne if she's out there somewhere. So, body found floating in pond, Phoenix. Is it Nancy? Talking about now? Like, you talking about the one a couple months ago? I, I'm not familiar. I'm here on YouTube right now, so let me mute this for a second and answer this phone call because it's my wife. She's important. So hold on one second, y'all. That tells you how much my wife paid attention to my live stream. She's like, well, I didn't know he's on there. Like, yeah, I'm live. Okay. Yeah, I don't know anything about that, Judith. I've been on live stream for an hour and 22 minutes. So, and I was in town all morning, so I haven't seen anything about that. Elizabeth in Texas, hello. I just found your chat line. It's very interesting and informative so far. I hope that you find it interesting. Again, the only thing that keeps it interesting is when people like you guys, like you, Ms. Elizabeth, stopping in and asking questions and comments, and I'll give you my best answer. I want if it's something I don't know, I'll straight up tell you. I have no idea on that one. So, I'm not a doctor, whoever you want to throw in there as a name. I'm just a guy here on the internet in Oklahoma, close to the National Weather Service down the road. So, I'll give you my best answer, and I hope that you give me your feedback so that we can continue conversations. And that's what it's all about. That's all I'm trying to do. So, okay, now a body is found. I haven't heard anything. We're 4 months down the road. I wouldn't see it being. I would not see it being Miss Nancy. Anything's possible. Anything's possible, but I don't see it being Miss Nancy. Good job. That's awesome. I appreciate you, Poppy's post. Yeah, Poppy's post. Poppy's post. Yeah, that's it. Poppy's post. Well, thanks. I think you're talking about probably one of the things back there, and not me. I'm just saying. So I'm only awesome because you guys are here and y'all keep me awesome. So Fox 10 Phoenix is where you can find the information about the body found in the pond, it sounds like. So yeah, I'm sorry, Judith. The spam. I'm going to go change that. I can see already because it's going to mess some people up. So 10-8 investigates. I think Nancy's on private property somewhere, and it makes it very, very difficult for searchers. I have to agree with you. Or obviously 124, 125. What day are we into now? How many ever days into this? 124, I think. We should have seen something by now. So some type of evidence, whether it be buzzards, that should have happened a long time ago too. So hang tight. Sorry, I had to hit the old vape. You know, hey, I vape. So let me go back to imagery here. So let's see what else I wanted to show you. I know there's some things that I wanted to show you guys in some of this imagery. And again, it's one of those things where you just gotta, you know, when you get here on Google Earth, you gotta zoom in and see what you can see. Because I was looking for like that septic tank and stuff like that. Um, I'm not sure what you call that cacti right there, but it don't look appropriate for young minds. Okay, we don't need those kind of cacti around here. But it's hard to tell in these images. I guess once I go and do the vertical straight down, it should tell us. I think there is a sidewalk, a pathway through there. I don't think it's a sidewalk. I think it's more like a pea gravel type deal through there that leads behind this cacti and goes around through here and comes out right here onto the sidewalk. So we'll have to look at that and see. Yeah, it's just it's a matter of just looking at different stuff. I don't know what. Very interesting. Oh, let's see here. Something just finished on the printer. Let me go grab it and I'll show you guys what it is. Can y'all read that? That's kanji. It's not kanji, it's Chinese. No, I think it's Japanese. So let me go grab that off the printer and I'll be right back and I'll show you what I printed. Hang tight real quick. So let me pause my camera and the mic. Okay, I am back. I'm back. Let me take myself full screen here. Let me drop this down. I don't want to remove it. But let me just go back to myself here. Okay, so this is what a 3D print looks like. These right here are all called supports. So in order to print something in midair, let's say for instance, this part of the gun right here, obviously this right here is a SWAT person. So as you see all these supports up in here, this is what holds. A 3D printer cannot print just in thin air. It has to have something that comes up and then it builds from there up. So as it prints as a layer from here up and it comes up through here. So every one of those, I mean, think of it as a flat plane and it has to put that filament there and it goes solid here, but it's different down here whenever it's printing. So these are here all what's called supports. So now that this is done, you take and you break all these supports off. It's like it's right here. So let me see. Make sure my camera is showing you. So these supports come off. See how that just breaks away? It's when it prints, it's designed to not be in full contact, but it's enough to help build the print so something can be printed. See how that tower piece right there is coming off? So that's trash. Because now that you've printed that part and these supports are removed, that filament can be ground up. Not that I have a grinder, and then recycled and reprinted. If you could put it back into, if you could put it back into the spool that is the way it feeds. So this is called 3D filament. This is the PLA. It's a type of filament, PLA filament. And so it comes in a spool, and then it runs through the machine, and it prints it out, and the design, whatever design you select, and it prints it out, and it leaves you with your 3D model, which is what everything that Taz I showed y'all earlier, that's what Taz is printed from, is 3D filament. So as you can see, as I remove a couple of these things, I'm trying to get it just so I can show y'all sort of what he looks like here. And again, it's hard because I have to hold it up there for the camera to see it. Let me take my background off. Because when you have your background on, then the background tries to blur stuff in your background out. And it's, there you go. So now y'all can see fully. So you see how it's, so these supports is what helps build that. So once I take these supports off, I want y'all to be able to see what is actually left. So now you can see sort of his face and his shield, his visor and all that stuff. So I just took the supports out. Now you see there's nothing underneath there. So that part right there cannot print in thin air. And that's what the support does. It makes it bridges that gap so that it can actually print. So all these things right here that you see going vertical are all supports. And then once I remove all those, then you would see the figurine, just like those things you see over behind me that I've printed out. And they become, sorry, that's probably loud in y'all's ear. I hope it's not. So, but you have to be careful because, you know, sometimes things can be really attached more than they're supposed to be. And then you'll break a detailed part, you know, of a finger or something like that. So that's not what this video is about, but I just wanted to show y'all because I know a lot of y'all ask how I get all those things right there. Those are all 3D printed things that I've 3D printed, and they're just sitting over here waiting to be painted or, you know, whatever. So you'll see River. Say hello, River. Rivy Riv. She's asleep. She just got fixed last week too. That's my son's dog, so she hangs out with me sometimes. So that's River. So let me put this back to the side. We'll go back to some questions and answers. I just had to see there. Let me put the background back on because I know y'all don't want to see everything behind me, right? I could do that one or I could do that one. Oh gosh, I don't know. Some of y'all might leave. Y'all see that one. Let's go with that one. Where's all those other backgrounds? Oh, I've got. Yeah, we'll go with that one. So, there you go, Miss Peggy. Hello, howdy, Miss Peggy. Peggy from Texas. I was just talking about you. I was showing your friend. Peggy don't like clowns, y'all. She does not like clowns. I got to get this stuff out of my way because it's gonna irritate my arms leaning on it or something like that. So let me throw this over here in a box or in the trash. Let me throw it in the trash. Hold on one second here. I'm still here. I can still hear you, but even though you're not talking, saying that to me. Let me set this out of the way now. Let me turn my camera back on. Okay, now y'all can see me. What is it made of? Again, 3D filament. And it's the machine itself can be expensive. It just depends on which one you buy. There are some cheaper. There is a lot as much as I want to say I learned how to do it, and anybody can learn how to do it, there's a lot to learn about. It's not like cutting stickers or anything like that from a computer. Yeah, you use a computer to do your to find your STL files, which is the STL files is where it tells the machine where to print at. So you got to learn about that and how to get your file and import it into your software that is made for your machine to tell your machine where to do the printing at. So there's things you got to learn about the software of it. It's harder than most people want to tell you and want to make you believe because they want everybody to get into 3D printing. But I'll tell you, from an everyday user standpoint, just getting started is tough. It's doable. I'm proof of that. But it gets easier the more you do, because you think that anybody tells you you can buy this filament, print this out, and it'll look like this. There's so much more to it than just that. There's so many different settings, things you can accidentally change that you didn't mean to, and cause all kind of stuff. So, yeah, it was good, Miss Peggy. It was just about the clowns. Yeah, again, I mean, anybody can learn it. I did, you know, and then it's just a matter of figuring out what you want to do. Again, there's Peggy, you missed, if you're still here, Miss Peggy, you missed me showing the Tasmanian devil table that I've 3D printed and how big it is. It's sitting right here behind me. So, yeah, you can make pieces bigger. You can do all kind of different stuff. So it's just one of those things where you can do it all. You can 3D print stuff. I've printed spice racks. I've printed all kind of stuff for my kitchen. My wife, in the kitchen. You can print if you can find the file for it. I don't make any of the files. That's a whole different level of ball game we're talking about. That takes some very high knowledge in CAD and software you use to make a file. So that in itself is something totally different. So I find all the files online that I want to make stuff out of. So there's all kind of different websites you can get the files from. But I'm telling you, if you can imagine it, it is out there. And a lot of things, there's more than just one version of it. A door stop. There's decorative door stops. There's plain and simple door stops. There's all kind of door stops. I'm just saying. So, again, if you can imagine it, it's out there. All my stuff from my airbrush station, my airbrush holder, a triple airbrush holder. I've 3D printed. I've printed stuff for tools, battery things for DeWalt. My buddy, I 3D printed a battery, a multi-pack battery carrier. He can carry like 8 batteries in this little thing, and they all clip onto the side of it. And then you got tools in the middle, and you can carry like a little screwdriver. Let's say an air conditioning guy, he can carry a specific tools for that with his DeWalt battery chargers and all that stuff right there on his little box thing, whatever it was I printed. So you can print it, y'all. If you can think of it, you can print it. So, gosh, don't call my wife. So I gotta say, Janie. She would tell you there's so much stuff that I have 3D printed. I was looking right here to see what else I have right here close by that's 3D printed, and I don't see anything else that's like right here. It's all in here where I used to have my office. But literally, I mean, if you need a camera mount for your 360 camera, there's so many different camera mounts. There's things that that you print, and I think to go as far as saying that people trust their lives with them, let's say, something for your motorcycle or blah, blah, blah. There's things that I wouldn't 3D print and trust my life with. So, but there is a ton of stuff. The spice racks, you're talking about the kitchen. Here, I'll use this is my vape juice canisters. So imagine a canister that holds, 8 jars of a certain size of spice things, and then they mount to the inside of the door. So now instead of just having the spices, we got our kitchen's got a corner Lazy Susan. Is that what it's called? Not to call any of the Susans out there that are listening lazy, just Lazy Susan. I think it's what it's called. Let's call it a Lazy Kathy. I don't know. Goes in the corner, and then it spins around, so you put like different stuff on it. So there's that one, but then when you open the door, there's your things that you always grab quickly. Your favorite ones are mounted right there in the door. So there's like an 8, and I have double of those up there now. So, if you just wanted the salt and pepper blend, you grab that. So, and for me, again, knowing how to use different things. This is a micrometer, so you can scale and check size of stuff, so I can see how big this bottle is, and then it tells me down here on the thing. I can go into the software and tell it, okay, I want the whole 1 or 2 millimeters, which is something I never knew. Metric stuff in my life. I've had to learn some metric stuff because all the software is done in metrics. So, just different stuff. So, yeah, it's interesting to learn about all that kind of stuff, and it's a lot of fun. Oh gosh, Peggy, you done got the person mad at you. That Streamlabs, I'm gonna have to go take that off because, well, it keeps people from spamming all kind of crazy stuff. If y'all know what I mean, that's why I have it on there. But I'm gonna have to crank that up to like 500 so it doesn't smack y'all for posting long messages. So it's not me, and it's just that. There's something weird in your audio. High pitched noise when every word you speak. Very faint, but I'm deaf, almost in one ear. So I asked if anyone else hears it. Maybe anybody else hear an issue with my audio? It could be that. Is it the wrong mic? Oh, how's that mic sound?
Or I want my creepy voice. Y'all like my creepy voice?
Or how about a clean mic?
How about the re-announcer?
Donna, what are you hearing? Are you hearing something with my mic? I don't remember what. I don't know what you're answering the question of yes to. No, the voice is fine. Okay. Linda B says the voice is fine. High pitch now. was that for one of my voices I put on, or was it just me? Do I need to move my mic closer? I don't know. Well, hold on. I got a button here I can turn on myself, and it's hard to hear yourself talk because you say something and then it comes out, and it's a thing. So let me try to listen to myself. I'm going to just say some weird stuff, y'all. So just bear with me. Test. Can you hear me? I'm hearing everything clear and fine. The hardest part is not hearing myself and stopping and keep talking. I hear everything fine. Okay, so I don't know, Miss Peggy, I think it was. Yeah, Peggy was the one who said that. So,
You sure Peggy, do you like clowns? So I need to send a clown to your house and visit Peggy.
What about this voice? This voice is pretty annoying at times, I guess, but it's the ultra flame.
I got all kind of voices, so y'all just know it's still me. Y'all can see me talking. Y'all know it's me. Same high pitch sound when you talk. I don't know. Do I need to throw a little bass into it, Miss Donna? We'll do some bass. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Let me go into my settings over here on my voice mod. Let's see here. Gosh, it's been a couple days since I used this. Let me verify I don't have any. I can turn my volume up. Are y'all hearing me louder now? Everything's fine. It stopped. You did that, but now it's back. So it must be something in that voice, which that's just called clean mic. So, you know,
Y'all hear it whenever Alvin, Simon, Theodore is playing?
I don't know. Try to add a little bass to it, maybe in my clean voice deal here. Change the treble a little bit. Again, for some reason, that's just the setting for a clean mic is what it's called. So I agree with Peg. Let's see. Gosh, there's a bunch of comments there, so I don't know what I missed. Linda says everything's fine. It stopped when you did that, but now it's back. So it must be in that voice. I agree with Peg. It stopped when you tested, but then came back. I'm just me, y'all. You gotta love me for being me. I am just me. You remember all that stuff I was talking about, all the negativity going on in the true crime community? This is me. I'm just a happy damn person. So, you know, I like having fun. That serious stuff of all that crap. Yeah, I'm done with that crap. So, it's almost feedback, but tiny little squeal as you speak. Let me check and make sure ain't like mouse underneath my chair or something like that. Maybe I sit down on him and he's squealing his damn head off or something. So I don't know. There's a ton of funny comments there. So it's very faint, but I have bad hearing. Let me think what that's called. What bad hearing is called? Dang it. Echolocation. See, remember me telling you about the Rolodex? The sucker spins and then eventually gets to the right page and it stops. And then it says what I need to. Will you please consider going into one of the guys' lives soon? Like I said, need to hear your insights more. Yeah. Oh, was I not showing it? Okay. Will you please consider going into the guys' live stream soon? Like I said, need to hear your insights more. Linda B, I have no problem with it. I don't think any of those guys have any problems with it. It's just a timing thing for me, as in, you know, depending on when they go live, you know, sometimes it's early in the daytime, like JLR when he's back live at home in studio in Florida is a different time for me. He's an hour ahead of me. Like now he's 2 hours, he's an hour behind me type thing. I'll go on any of their shows. Alex, 857 Tucson, JLR. Y'all see me on JLR stream many times. I don't have no problem going in anybody's streams. Any y'all, if y'all have your own YouTube channels, let me know. You know, thank you, Miss Peggy. I love you too. I'll go on anybody's streams. Miss Peggy, you dadgummit, you gonna get that Streamlabs mod all fired up. Don't make me have to go in and rescue you now because you used all caps. But I appreciate you and I love you back. But the Streamlabs mod, it's an AI bot. She's very controlling. Y'all need to talk to her about having some better manners and knowing who the peoples are we want here. I hear everything. We know you do, Donna. We know you do. I can tell. I can tell. We know you hear everything. Yeah, I'm in Florida, so sometimes it's really hard being 3 hours ahead of them. Exactly. I grew up East Coast myself, so I understand. So she's going to get you. I'm just saying, she's going to slap your hand twice. So, and that is the last one. Not that I'm going off stream or anything. My wife will be home here shortly with dinner, I'm sure. But and at that point, I'm sure I'll go off stream and I'll find something for us to do. Breaking news here in the 405 3 minutes ago. One person shot, another in custody after a road rage shooting in southeast OKC. And that's for my OKC friends. Yes, it is 5:24 here. Y'all hear this? I got some. Siri, shut up. I didn't even say her name, and she started over talking about basketball, something I'm not even interested in. I'm just saying. Yes, I'm in Oklahoma. I'm in Norman, Oklahoma, to be exact, out by Lake Thunderbird. I've not went as far as posting my address, but if you want to know, you can find me. I'm just saying. It's for all those haters out there. I've said it before. I don't give a dang. Residence Fire, Highway 9 and 192nd Avenue. That's a few miles from me, but it's still out there. That's almost in the next county over. That's 45 minutes ago. So, I was picking up my phone because I was in check see. Oh, I got plenty of time because my wife's still babysitting. So, okay, what do y'all want to talk about? Let me bring this back up on screen. Anybody got any questions on? Hold on one second. I was going to check this mic thing right here. Let me verify this plug is plugged in good. Well, actually, y'all said it doesn't do it on those other voices, so it's got to be in this actual voice. I guess we're good with that. You did? You said, man, did I reply to it? You know what's crazy is on X, on chat messages is what we all call it. It's a chat. It's like a DM. It can be hours. I mean, I've had plenty of my friends that, like, I've been trying to get a hold of you for a few hours type thing. And I'm like, there is no notification over here. It doesn't pop up. I don't use, it's very rare that I use X on my phone. I have a computer and that's what I use because it's just much easier to read than, using the bifocals, on my phone. So, on my phone. So, I've never been to Oklahoma. Would love to be able to come meet you in person sometime. You seem like a really, really cool guy. I am an amazing person. I'm just telling you. I didn't grow up in Oklahoma. I'm a transplant from North Carolina. I grew up in the mountains of North Carolina. That's where I get this amazing country hick accent. Spent 18 years there growing up, and I joined the Marine Corps. And then from there, after I got out of the Marine Corps and stuff, my wife and I decided to move to Oklahoma. We've been out here for almost 30 years. Now, we've had trips to North Carolina, California. We've lived in multiple states. But we decided on Oklahoma. Nobody told me about these tornadoes before I made that decision. I don't think I knew about those tornadoes before I made that decision. So just one of the things. So, well, no to you too, Miss Peggy. I don't remember what the no is for. That's what happens whenever you get behind in your comments. You ask a question and they answer, and then you've already changed and went to another question. And now your answer shows up, and I don't know what the heck you're saying no to. So no back to you. Thought you was snubbing me. Now, you know better than that. All y'all know better than that. I don't snub people. Sometimes my timeline just goes so dang fast, y'all. I've told y'all many times, I only look at on my X on my notification page. If it don't hit my notifications because y'all tag me, or if I don't have a notification on for someone, people ask me all the time, how come you didn't reply to my comment? It's because it didn't show up on my notifications tab. I don't go to I don't know how y'all do it, but I've always done it for notifications because I always wanted to see who was liking, commenting, and interacting with those people, following me, or, leaving a comment. If you leave a comment on something I posted, then I see that because it shows on my notifications. But I don't. I have 30-something thousand people that follow me on X already, so I can't go to everybody's page. You know what I mean? So you got to think of it from my perspective of I have to stay on my page to see what you are saying to me because it shows up in my notifications that you've tagged me or said something to me. But with 30-something thousand, imagine what that's like for somebody who has 1 million followers, like Nick Sorter. He can't go to everybody's page. He can't keep up with everybody's comments. And I know how fast my comments and things get going with 37. How many people do I have follow me? I have no idea. 31,000, 37,000. All you guys that follow me, I appreciate you. But I can't keep up with all your comments. So if you need me, you have to tag me, which that's how it works. It shows up in my notifications. And then, again, my notifications get it. Like if I post, I told y'all, there's the personal side of X to me that I talk to all y'all that want to talk with me. And then there's the business side of my X, which is my monetization side. It's still the same side. Y'all see whatever I post, y'all see. Some of that stuff y'all see me posting, don't take it so serious that there's issues with me. I'm learning how to do this, and I know how to get the comments and get people to like and share provocative stuff. And I'll tell y'all, when you get monetized, you'll learn that you'll post whatever it takes to get your check every month, every 2 weeks. And you'll start out, you're going to get a little check, and you're going to be like, damn, I did all that work for this. And things get better, y'all. And then they get you hooked, and they give you a check that you're like, dang, I can make that kind of money doing this thing. And they crank you in and go, now you need to get back up here on the bank a little bit. You're getting too far out here in the water. So they reel you in just a little bit. And you're like, oh, dang, now I didn't get as much as I did last time. And then you post a video and you get 10 million views and all this stuff. And then you get a fat check and you're like, holy cow, I can see myself doing this. And then you get burnt out. Miss Cheryl, are you the same Miss Cheryl? Peace and justice and liberty for all? Are you different, Cheryl? I know too many Cheryls. Just saying. So, Miss Linda says, my late husband is from New Bern, North Carolina, born and raised, and now buried there as well. New Bern, that's right outside of Jacksonville. That's where I was stationed outside of Camp Lejeune. Did he serve in the Marine Corps? Texas Peg says, you ain't got nothing on my southern accent, just saying. Well, I bet you I do, ma'am. Yeehaw. Mama Donna says, yes, chat doesn't display notifications. I have to check a few times a day for messages. You know, it's crazy because, I mean, it'd be hours. It'd be hours. And I'll look over there and there won't be no blue check mark telling you that there's a new chat thing in there. So, and then other times you look over and there's a blue check mark, a blue notification, whatever it is. Hello, Miss Christine Nicole. Thanks for stopping in. But yeah, you just won't know that there's a conversation there. And so it's one of those things where I think most of you figured out if you really need to get my attention, want me to say something, you sent me a DM with some information in it type thing. Y'all know, just go make a post and tag me in it and say, hey, go check your chat. And I go check my chat and I can respond right back to y'all. No, you didn't answer my message. No, you didn't answer my message was what I meant. Oh, my turn. I'll go check it when I get off this here lot. Here, let me go check it now. No, I'll do that later. I would never do that. Y'all know that. Let's see. Liberty and justice for all, Cheryl from Arkansas. And y'all don't have a clue what Southern is. Now, look here. You more northern than me. I know where you at in Arkansas. We've talked about this. And I'm more southern than you right now. But North Carolina is more southern than Northwest Arkansas, I'm just saying. And I've heard you talk because we've had discussions in what you call that? Spaces. We've had discussions in spaces, which I miss talking to y'all in spaces because, you know, and that's the bad thing about YouTube here is it's me having this conversation with y'all who are typing stuff to me. That's why I posted a link if anybody wants to jump in and come on video. You don't have to be on, you can turn your camera off if you just want to use your voice type thing. Anybody wants to do that. Right there's the link. So I don't want to hear y'all's excuses. Right there is the link. But I miss having actual conversations with y'all, especially my buddy from Northwest Arkansas, Miss Cheryl. She's got some interesting information on what the hell you call that, Cheryl? Rock hounding? Don't go look. How do I go back to showing this back here on my screen? Oh, let me change this. Oh, now what the hell have you pushed? Wrong button. Let's see here. There you go. Look at all them rocks, Cheryl. That's a bunch of rocks you can hound up right there. That'd be like cactus hounding too, wouldn't it? Oh, okay, so let me go out of here. Well, I got this on here. Linda B, she's going to get you. I'm telling you right now. What does it say here? He has a vehicle maintenance supervisor, massive heart attack, and died in my arms age of 43. That's sad. 9 hours from my 30th birthday, 37 years ago. Wow, time flies. Time flies, and yes, you know, that is sorry to hear that. As we venture on through these here moments of life, let's see, what does it say? I had to go back and read that. That's interesting, in a sense. 13-year difference there. Telling y'all, a woman and her rocks. She's always talking about rocks. And she's not a wackadoodle. Oh, hey, y'all tell me if y'all can hear this. Let me see if this. Let me play this here. Did y'all hear that? Because I don't know that sounds will play through there whenever I do that. Let's see, what does it say here? She says, I love it. Yeah, no doubt how many rocks we have from this beautiful Southwest, mostly a rock hound in New Mexico, but there are so many places yet to go. I'm telling y'all have to hear some of her stories about rock hounding. It's pretty interesting. And it doesn't care whether you're having fun or not. It doesn't. It sure doesn't. Now, don't get my dad on here. He is from Georgia. Georgia? See, look at there. Linda, you done opened up a can of rocks. I warned you. It's pretty interesting to hear some of her discussions about it. So, okay, so I've got that on screen. Let me go back out of this right here and see if it will see. Okay, see, take us out of Street View. See how there's, so on Google Earth here, for those of you who may not have used Google Earth, you can see here. Oh, okay. So this right here is normal view. This right here is, let me change the rotation here. So we're looking at Ms. Nancy's house, which is right here. Okay, so this right here is the aerial view of her yard and stuff. So Siri, stop. I found this on the web for stop. Yes, there is a pathway. It looks through there. Does that look like a pathway there for y'all? Looks like sort of a pathway around from the corner, maybe. And I also noticed this in Chris's from the interview room whenever they were showing a photo and all that stuff. See how there's a sort of a stepping stone deal over here that comes across here? That crack where the blood transitions and changes direction is somewhere right in here. So they came out right here, and instead of going off here because that handrail, see the shadow of the handrail is right here. A wheelchair wouldn't go through either side of this right here, and there was those two big cacti sitting right here. So they had to have went through here, and I think they came around through here and went down with a wheelchair because of somebody brought it up, and I've seen it in the photos too of the blood back inside the area there. But, I posted the photos on X that these are possible trails and all that stuff, but that's before we just started talking wheelchairs. If they're just, it makes no sense to me that they would park over here and take her body from her house and go transport her over to here. Thank you, Miss Janie, for stopping in. Make sure you turn on those notifications. Make sure you're subscribed on YouTube, which I'm sure you are. But make sure you turn on your notifications so you know when I go live again. I'm going to start being on here and active a lot more now that, if you listen to the whole thing, you'll understand. But again, I was just talking about some things right here. So thank you for stopping in. I appreciate your comments, and feel free to stop in anytime. So thank you much, and you have a good evening. Go get those grandbabies for sure. So I find it strange that, again, I posted that possible trails leading out of there. Yeah, they could have parked over here to go do whatever they were going to do in preparation for, but then they would have came back, got the car, and then pulled up here. I don't see them transporting her. This right here was a house that was rented by, I think, Brian Enton's crew. Maybe. Anybody confirm that? We think that was a rental house. This guy's got a golf course. Look at that. He does. He's got a golf course. a daggone putting golf course right here attached to his house. It's got a greens and roughs and all that stuff. There's the hole right there for the hole in ones. But that house right there, based on elevation, stuff like that, let me change it here. Y'all might be able to see this. I think you could stand up here and overlook down into Nancy's house right in here. Let's check and see. Let's go to tilt. We're going to tilt it down. It's semi on the same plane, and there's trees there, so I don't think you'd be able to see directly there. But this is what I was showing with Alex the other day. If y'all were watching Alex's stream, there was a car parked up here. That car was parked right here. Alex is streaming from right here, and he says he could see a car on Nancy's roof, what looked like on Nancy's roof, even though we know it's not, but in its general direction. And that car is technically sitting here parked in its driveway, which is higher elevation than this. So that's why it appeared that the car was sitting on Nancy's roof, is because that direct line of sight right there. So I was going to go on Alex's stream the other night and talk about this and show, because I know he even shouted me out on his stream for bringing up the information. But I showed this photo on X and showed this direct line of sight to that. So for anybody who's asking, there's what that is. But notice that this house up here is definitely higher. Notably higher. And I thought this right here was going to be the people that was saying that their Wi-Fi got shut off or something like that, and their dogs were barking. I thought that's the house they were talking about, but I don't think it is now. I think we'll have to get JLR and somebody like that to explain it to us. Hi, Captain. Thank you for the work you're doing. God bless you and yours, and you too, Linda Lane. Thanks for being here. Eternal Moon. Hold on. I said eternal. Ethereal moonlight? Ethereal moonlight? Something ethereal? Either way, honey, thank you. Thumbs up. Hello. Hello to you. Here, let me bring this up for Cheryl, because I asked the question and she posted it. And maybe if anybody missed it, Rock County is digging for minerals, fossils, gemstones, and other stones like limestone formations in the Crimean areas. Amateur geology. Let me get back here. Gosh, these comments are so hard to get to. You have to set your view on 80% to be able to see all the comments, because then if not, you'll start skipping them. Linda B says, I'll have to look it up, being a former fossil hunter here in Florida. Janie said, good night. Linda B said, good night back to her. Texas Peg, it was Fox News Ints Group, had a tent out there, out front the whole time. I remember that there was a tent back here. Am I still showing on my screen there? Yeah. So right back into here is where we see that in some photos. The tents were set up right here in this triangle area looking at the house. But does anybody remember the footage from when Brian Enton and Bob Craigan, is that his name? I think so. Bob Craigan walked through the backwoods area to go show you towards Nancy's house. I mean, look, I may give it 50 feet, but I think that's way more than what that really is there. That's not the area they walked from. They had to walk from down here, I believe, to traipse through all this, or if not, because I remember there was a wall right there next to where they were walking at. They came in from like down here type thing, going through all this whole thing to make you feel like it was a long ass walk. It wasn't. It was, if they parked down here at this cul-de-sac and then walked up through here type deal, because this right here is the driveway to this house. This right here is the street and all that stuff. I think they parked right. Brian Enton and Bob Cragen parked right here, and they walked up to the woods here to get towards Nancy's house. All they had to do is, I mean, again, this is private property in somebody's driveway. Pulling up here, which Brian Enton had been up there, type deal. And it's a lot closer right there. So, Mr. I'm out here. Yeah, y'all be careful with your posting links and all that stuff. Linda Lane. That's an automatic deal. That's why I have those kind of things turned on, you know, so just gotta be careful posting links because people would post links that automatically pop up, and you know, we got to be careful on those links. So okay, now that I'm sort of caught up on, not caught up, there's a bunch of comments. But see, Linda B says that's not the house. Look over to the right and back a little bit of Nancy's house. Look over to the right. You're saying this one right here is the one that Bob Cragen walked from, I believe, probably, and that's what I think. See, Peggy says she thought the gym guys had the barking dogs and all that stuff. That would have been right here, and I'm not sure. I know that's the gym guy's house, but I don't think they're the ones who had the barking dogs. I'm going to guess it was probably up here. Suspect over here. But let's say that that is the case. And this right here, this theory right here of this guy's stuff getting turned off maybe would make a little sense. I don't know about that. Thanks for having me over. I appreciate it very much. Thanks for stopping in, Ms. Linda. Linda B says yes. So maybe that's what we're talking about. There's the house where the dog was. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't, you know, I don't know which one we're talking about. It's labeled there. There's the addresses on it, 2210, 2135, 2125. Again, this right here, let's see if I let me see the address it gives Nancy's house here. It doesn't give, see how it does not give her house, 5800. Y'all see that? 2125, 2135. It does not give their address. It gives theirs 2210, but it will not give you Nancy's address. Granted, we all know what it is, but stuff is just, they've sort of almost blocked certain areas right in here. Buckeye Lady 1, hello, hello. Thanks for stopping in. The house with the pool on the right calf is the one where the dog alerted and he lost wife on the back. The house with the pool on the right calf. I think that's what you were saying. This is the gym house. Yeah, I remember it with Brian and Bob Cragen. Yeah, they walked through there. So, and the B says that's the one where the dog alerted. So I think she's answering what I was saying earlier. What did I do something wrong? I'm sorry if I did. No, Linda, you didn't. You didn't do anything wrong. It's an automatic deal. It's a Streamlabs moderator. I'm not using Streamlabs. I'm on StreamYard, but it's a moderator that I added to my YouTube channel that is automatic. That your comments go through for filtering. For there's people who go in and just blatantly just talk all kind of trash and curse people out, all that stuff. It's got filters on that, filters for all kind of stuff, links and all that stuff. And filters for how much your comment can be. It does all that stuff automatically. So normally I have moderators, I'll have 2 or 3, and so anybody that's on here, you know, the moderator will take care of that stuff. But this is an automatic AI moderator, and she, and why I know it's a she, because she'll smack you down. She just automatically filters that stuff. So I'm sorry, but we have to keep it in place for our minds, for sanity. But no, you didn't do anything wrong. Just be careful how long your sentences are, and capital letters and profanity and all that stuff. But Linda B says, no, it was the one on the right. You can see the brick wall. So I think, I agree with you. That's what I was saying. I think it's the brick wall type deal. It really came up through here. And it may have been a little tough to get through there. Yeah, Bob Traeger. Look at the house. It's 2 o'clock from Nancy's pool or backyard. Yes. 2 o'clock. I got a digital watch. How am I supposed to know that? It tells me right there on the face. I'm just kidding. I'm worn a digital watch. Yeah, 2 o'clock would be right over here, 21:25. Linda B? Yes. Yes. It's me. Tell you, yes, Jim has dogs. Okay. It's quite possible, y'all. Jim people may have dogs. Not the Jim guy's house, the one that is at 12 o'clock from the Jim guy's house. Yeah. So I think we're all in agreement, and that's where 21:25 is. Matter of fact, I think I heard JLR or somebody the other night. Did I hear somebody saying 21:25? Matter of fact, I think it was JLR and Alex just talked about it. Or was it last night, JLR and Ms. Juanita saying that? Yeah, it's the one where Brian Anton is saying, Brian Enton and the owner were standing out back at the brick wall, and he was talking about his dogs were alerted. See, I may not have seen that episode type deal, but it's quite possible. I know people make fun of things I say sometimes too. So I knew you meant Brian Enton, and you probably may have been text to type messaging or something like that, and it probably just picked it up. You know, with our country accents, sometimes these here ladies listen to us over there, and she just says what she wants to think we're saying, and it's not the truth. I'm trying to think of what else. Gosh, we've been on for almost 2.5 hours. I thought there were some other things. Oh, we wanted to look at this house. Well, that house right there. Remember how in the very beginning here I was telling y'all we wanted to see about that little casita? That's a long way over there. Remember how we was looking up here? And then we saw this over here. Is this a house in itself? This is the one we think is getting the pool installed. This right here is Sue Ellen's house. This is Crouch House, I do believe. I think that's what their names are. Yeah, this right here is Sue Ellen's house. Now, I don't know whose house this is. This is the house that I don't remember their names, but the daughter is in charge of it now, right? The estate type thing. Yeah, so see, I knew you were doing talk to text. That's what happens. That talks to text to get you every time. How come it's not? Let me change that comment. There we go. Blame my smartphone. I'm doing talk to text. Hey, I don't remember, Peggy. I'm just saying. There's so much stuff only so much stuff that can fit in this here noggin, and I just can't remember it all. So. Sandra Giroux, 9579. Sorry, I'm just coming into chat. What are we discussing? We're discussing anything. We've already had a long discussion, 2.5 hours of discussion on all kind of stuff involving the Nancy Guthrie case. So, I'll take a look here whenever I decide to hang out for this here thing, and I'll check it out. So I appreciate you for letting me know. That way, maybe I can narrow down what I'm hearing, what y'all are hearing, and all that stuff. So yeah, I probably watched it. I don't remember. Like I said, I drank a lot of chemicals while I was in the Marine Corps, and my memory sometimes really plays tricks on me. So doesn't mean it wasn't said. Doesn't mean it's not true. Doesn't mean that it didn't happen. It's just that sometimes I don't remember stuff. So, yeah, so this is the wash. There's a wash here that we all have seen. See this trails going through that wash? Looks like people often drive through there. Pretty wild. This is Google Earth I'm using, not Google Maps. This is Google Earth. So it's a whole lot different perspective. But when you look at it from this perspective, you can almost see the topography of the area. You can see how the washes come through here. This right here is where JLR, didn't they return from Mount Lemmon and go right here and search something? What was it they found here? This is the utility easement right here they were talking about. The house with the G cup in their front yard would be somewhere over into this area here. I think it's right in here. I think it's this house right here. This should be G. Because I think it's in Horseshoe area. I think it's right in there somewhere. So I could be wrong. I'd have to go back and look at it. I've looked at so many different houses and areas and stuff like that. Sometimes it's hard to remember. Oh gosh, there are a ton of comments here. I'm joking. Alex is the one always saying, "Can I pet that dog?" Oh, yeah. Can I pet that dog? I appreciate you, Ms. Linda. It was an honor to get to serve my country when I did, 92 to 96. For all those ones who want to say stolen valor still. Whatever. Thank you for your service and sacrifice you made for our country. God bless America. Thank you. X Death Killer YH Pasa 91 X P547. Yo, what's up? What's in the know? Yo. Didn't it come out that the house where the G cup was found was owned by the last name Gomez? I'm the one who put that out. I'm just saying. I showed that exactly live as it happened. I went and checked it, and I'm like, those people's last name is Gomez. Don't make too big of a deal about this. Gomez. Just saying. As we watched it live on JLR, as I was clipping and dipping. Let's see. You know, as I sit here, look at this. Y'all are seeing me as I'm looking at the camera, but right underneath the camera is that map that y'all are seeing on the screen also that I'm looking at. And sometimes I just want to sit here and I almost want to go, I want to look down and look at the topography of the terrain here, and I've got it zoomed. You see how this thing, you can sort of tilt it. We're going to look across. So, right. Oh, Lord, I done lost my place here. Let me give it some tilt back up here. Figure out where we was at there. I got off the street. Let's do a search here. There we go. Now, we got all turned around here. This is looking north. Just saying. Looking north. Let's turn it back around here. Heading. Now we're technically facing south. That's her above Nancy's house right there. So let's change the tilt here. We're looking out through there. Don't let us miss our spot right there. Is Nancy's house right there. So now, and we are looking directly south. No, I take that back. South to me is behind somebody's house type deal. So I know there's an actual direction of south, but south would be, see how this red thing right here is sort of different direction there. So it's not technically south. Oh, you're referring to south as that right there. So Let me leave that there. Let me check some more comments here. Let's see. Sanders says, I believe that they already found her and her body and they have suspect or suspects, but they don't have enough evidence yet. So they are telling the public to not let suspect know. And I understand. You can only put so many words into a comment. And as you see right here, the next thing you got smacked by the Streamlabs bot for putting so much information. Yeah, I have to believe that if they had her whereabouts and body and all that stuff, it would be national news by now. I don't think that just because law enforcement is wanting to keep it from telling anybody, that 18, 20, 27-year-old person, male, female, working at the hospital or morgue or wherever it is that would have seen that, would have leaked that all over the news. I'm just saying. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that, yeah, we want to protect and we don't want to let out and all that stuff. But there's certain things that no matter what, it's going to get leaked. I mean, we all know that things get leaked and it makes the news. And so I think that would be something that would have already been found out, that if there was really a body, you know. I know people talk about the 84-year-old lady on the Metaflight from down in Rio Rico and all that stuff. I don't know. The house that you showed near Sue Ellen's with all the cars in front, Alice calls that the car house. Okay, let's go check it out. Let's fly over here to the car house. Okay, so that's the one that's getting the pool right now. And this is the one that has the that thing he was asking about on his stream of what that thing is. That's that rock sifter, because they're sifting through the rock where they're digging to put in the pool. They take the scoop from out of the earth and take it over here and they pour it over. Let's just say this thing is what we're talking about. They pour it over this, all the dirt falls through, the boulders get stuck on top, and then they just rake the boulders off into a pile and they scoop them up, put boulders over here and fresh, clean dirt back over here. And then they pick that thing up and they move it to the next spot so they can get more fresh dirt. Does that make sense? That's what that was, is what he was saying, or what he was seeing. He didn't know, and I was trying to tell him. That's why they aren't searching or talking about it. I can see your point, but you know, at the same time, you have to look at it from the perspective of, you know, sort of not to go off too far off to the side there. And people are saying about Savannah going back to work and all that stuff, you know, and we got to remember that Savannah is under contract. And yeah, I'm sure she has X amount of time she can take off work. She can do blah, blah, blah. She has the money and all that stuff. But she also is under a contract to get that money. In order to get that money, she has to fulfill the obligations of her contract. And unfortunately, your mother missing or not, that's a business she works for. And that business says, okay, you can take a month off and go out there to your family and all that stuff. At some point, in order for them to keep giving you that check of part of that contract, is you've got to be back at work. And if you can't be at work, then they don't give you that check. That's part of that contract. So you have to fulfill your obligations. So, you know, I know a lot of people have been saying, now, well, she's got all this money, blah, blah. She could walk away, but at the same time, if she has a contract that she signed saying, I will provide you this time and do this for you, then at the same time, she didn't fulfill her end of the contract, she may have to pay some upfront or whatever that she may have been provided, some compensation for going into that contract. You know, so just one of those things that you got to remember. Why it's a business, the contracts that are signed, you also have to fulfill your obligation to the contract. You know, for us normal people who just go to work and get a paycheck, we can walk away from it. we don't work, we don't get paid. So for somebody who's under a contract to provide things, theirs is a lot different. So now back to where we was at. That's why they aren't searching or talking about it. Again, I think a lot of people don't understand it. Just like that video the other day about Sheriff Nanos's recent interview and all that stuff. That's actually from a couple of weeks ago, is what was said, and they just released it recently. And now everybody's going, "What about the new video interview that Sheriff Nanos did?" It's not new information. We don't know what they're doing. Searching and all that stuff could be going on, but again, it's one of those things where, as much as I want to say people are out searching and looking and all that stuff, Pima County, Tucson is a large place. No different than if somebody was to go missing here in Oklahoma. I mean, you start working your way out from the house where she's last seen. Yes, I understand all that stuff. And, I think the family should be, I would be interested if it was my family member on being out there and doing what I could type thing. Not saying that Savannah's not. I definitely do not see why Annie and Tommaso are not out there searching, especially if Savannah has the money and says, "Hey, I'll provide you, with a monthly income if you're out there searching, helping, whatever, because you don't have time to write a new poetry book. Maybe this will inspire you to write a new poetry book about rocks." Don't take that wrong, Cheryl. But I mean, just the things that you would see out there while you're out searching for your mother and seeing inspiration from everybody else who knows nothing about you other than the fact that they're out there trying to help you find your mother who's missing, I don't see how those would not be inspiring. While I'm thinking about it, I just happen to see this row of stuff over here. Over here is where those, I believe we've seen the right in here, those, that cistern where the guy was probing it is right over in here somewhere. But also, right over here is where some picture I saw was something about septic or something like that. It would have to be for this house right here. I don't think it'd be for Miss Nancy's. But looking from this aerial view, I don't see anything that we can see. Did y'all see that? Oh, right there it was. It's just me rolling my mouse in as far as it'll let me mouse in, and it had a target. And I'm like, what the hell? Is that like pick up septic tanks or something? I don't see anything over here from these images. We'd have to go back to look at Mark the Shark's drone footage. I'd love to take my drone out there. I mean, we'd come right up the driveway, hover right above the surface of the earth. We'd be blowing dirt and dust all over the place. And we'd track all this stuff, see what we could see. You can see this little patio area over here, trails, see what we could see. There's actually a gate back in here, right here off the pool too, that leads down this little pathway. There's a lot of things that we just never got. Let's say, for instance, Mark the Shark was videoing stuff like that. He was following the FBI agents or the attorneys generals that were walking around certain areas and all that stuff, and he was focused on what they were doing type thing. He wasn't there to scan and give us every detail of every brick per se. Does that make sense? So there's a lot of stuff we just don't know because we didn't get the detailed time taken and focused on every detail of that property. Linda B says there's a bobcat there in Juanita, and the Jews found bobcat scraping on the asphalt in front of all the rocks and cacti. Yeah, see, I haven't, there's a lot of stuff I've missed or whatever, so I'd have to go back and look at it. Yeah, just be careful, Sandra. If you make them too long and too much of a thing, just smack you. Craig Allen, hey man. Is Crystal on here? Are you saying to her you saw her in chat? I thought she was on here, and maybe I forgot to push a button, and she'd been sitting back there going with her fan out by now, going, "Dang, it's hot backstage. Kev, can you turn on the fans or something?" But hey, you remember what I told you yesterday on X? Here's an example of it. Just get on there, buddy. Do it. Sometimes you need to. I wish there was a way that you could go live with, I guess it's called Zoom, one person, and like me and you could go face to face, and I could teach you, talk to you, and all that stuff, without the world seeing it live, but it's just like a phone call. I guess they call that, it's one of those things where you don't want to give out your personal cell phone to everybody. Everybody sees, I think my phone thing is linked into my X profile. You can see my phone number. If somebody wanted to call into my voice line on this stream, you could do that also. So, but appreciate you, Trey. Thanks for stopping in. And again, man, just hit that daggum live button and do it. Let's go live. Sandra says, not if they're trying to catch the perp. There's a lot of things that they could be doing to catch the perp. There's a lot of things that, again, I'm not Chris McDonough. I do not have the time, experience, and stuff that he spent in homicide and on the streets and all that stuff. Was I a street officer? Yes. Did I do investigative stuff? I did some. I didn't do things like all those guys on the interview room. That was not my thing. I worked in a lot of stuff in private security, worked for a college. I was in charge of camera systems there. And then when I joined the Oklahoma City Housing Authority, I was in charge of all the cameras there. As a matter of fact, I was the one who helped get all their stuff installed. And my biggest thing was video evidence technician as a sergeant in charge of the camera system. I recovered a lot of video evidence that was used, and I had to go to court and testify. Stuff that was recorded and all that's captured on our video system. But I was a street officer with them before, I went as a security sergeant and took over the detail of the camera systems. But yes, I do have a card in Oklahoma still where I was commissioned law enforcement officer. So, and I started out when I was 18 years old in the Marine Corps carrying a gun as a military policeman. And so that's where my 32 years of law enforcement security experience comes from, is those type of things there. But there's a lot of things that they're setting back and patterning. It's no different than when I'm trying to catch a shot of a bird, in photography. You have to pattern them and watch them for a while and figure out what they're doing and see their patterns of what they're telling you. So, you just have to pattern them and then you'll get a shot of them. So patterning catch perp is also same thing in this sense. Thanks for sending that noise to me. This whole world has gone crazy since January. Since January? Since 1973? What you talking about? Right? I'm right? Don't tell me I'm right now. I know sometimes I'm right, but not always. Texas legal. I don't remember what we're talking about. Texas legal? Yeah. Yeah, we all do. I mean, the sad reality is when Nancy's case is solved, whenever that is, if it ever is, if it was solved tomorrow, there'd be a new case that pops up that's going to strike our interest. And, unfortunately, crime happens, and it's a harsh reality of living in this world we live in, so we would just be moving on to the next one going, okay, let's get our notebooks fresh and clean here. So, Have you ever heard of such a bizarre case? No. Listen to some of the other experts. Listen to the experts from the interview room. Dr. Mercado, especially. I mean, he's even said that normally there is a clear cut. It was a burglary, blah, and then it was for a murder for hire, blah. There's all these key factors that lead you in these directions and all this stuff. But this case, the Nancy Guthrie case, has so many contributing. It's where everybody keeps saying the fact of it being staged is it was so staged that they included so many different elements of so many various crimes and opportunities that have occurred throughout history of, the burglary part. There's nothing taken that we know of. It wasn't a burglary to where people go in and ransack. There was no drawers or anything open type deal other than doors. There's things of that. The whole thing about the doors being open. The whole thing about the front door, was it locked or unlocked? The blood on the front step. The 911 call would tell us a lot. I'm telling you, if we just had that one key piece of evidence, I think a lot of answers would come from it for people in knowing who may or not have been involved. I mean, just hearing that 911 call saying my mother is not home would be very telling on who was involved. So, and that's just me personally. We know Nannis is going to the gym. Look, I mean, there's a lot of things that people are harping on and all that stuff that I personally don't see the reason to be. I mean, he's a human being too. Has he made errors? We've all made errors in our lives. I'm definitely not on the bandwagon of people saying that Nanos is involved in the sense of he was involved in the actual crime. Me personally, my opinion, he's not involved. And, people saying they think that's him in the porch video. No, my opinion, I don't think so. I do not see Sheriff Nanos being that. I just don't see it, y'all. I mean, yeah. I don't know. JLR is going live at 6 this time from the Pima County Sheriff's Department. What time is it? 6:21 here, which means it's 5:21 Blair. Is that right? So we got to get at least 11 more minutes in for sure. We'll be at 3 hours. We just did a 3-hour live, y'all. And only why is because y'all are here asking questions, and hopefully I'm answering them for you. Again, these are all my opinions and my views, my thoughts, your questions, my thoughts on those questions. And I hope that I give you an answer that makes you think about whether you agree with my answer or not. Hopefully it makes you go, I can see its point, but let me look into this, or I don't agree because of this. So it's all about dialogue and keeping each other thinking about things. So, Cindy's back, y'all. I got to go. I got to sign off now. Cindy's back. Cindy's my buddy. I like Cindy. She's always reposting, sharing. Not that none of y'all else are. I'm just saying Miss Cindy is there. If y'all don't follow Miss Cindy, follow Miss Cindy on X. And Miss Peggy. And whoever else is here. most of y'all, let's see, most of what we know is hearsay from Annie to Savannah. So what do we really know? I question all of it. Peggy, we all do, ma'am. We all do. You know, and for people who say that the family is not involved, I understand what y'all are saying of I just don't see them involved. But me personally, I said from the beginning, I'm still on the bandwagon of I think the family's involved. And I'm not so sure I can't say that I don't say Savannah's not involved. Because I've seen stuff that tells me that she can be involved. Now, it's not a matter of do I suspect her or blah, blah, blah. I know damn good and well that family can be involved in this kind of stuff, and I've seen it happen. But just because you suspect and feel that this person couldn't do this to someone they love, I'm telling y'all, Chris McDonough can tell y'all. Any of those guys on his panel can tell you they have seen, and again, I'm not putting myself at their level at any sense. Those guys have many more years of experience and knowledge in homicide, all that stuff. I never worked homicide cases. I never did any of that kind of stuff on their level. So they will tell you that based on their level of experience and training and everything that they've seen out on the streets, that it is possible to any. Did anybody think that Rob Reiner's son would kill him and his wife? Well, that's his son. He wouldn't do that. It happens, folks. Could it be possible that Savannah's involved? It quite possibly could. And I've said, and I've brought it up many times, that I have seen video of whenever she and Annie and Tomasa walked down the driveway and her security detail guy is there. Security detail guy looks just like body type of sports guy to me. Same type of clothing, same type of shoes, same type of body mannerisms, all that stuff. And to believe that, somebody who we weren't familiar with could be involved, as in somebody who's from New York, who's on a security detail, could have been brought out there, has inside information based on knowledge from the family to do a job. Y'all tell me it ain't possible. It is possible. Anything is possible. That's not him. Laugh out loud. I don't remember where. I don't know what your comment was for. Was it you talking about Nanos? Were you talking about? I don't know who. No, it's 421 in Tucson right now. Yeah, 421. Yeah, you're right. Because it's 2 hours California. No. Yeah. Because Tucson don't change. So yeah, they're on the same time as California right now. I'll tell you what. I'm just a guy just trying. Thank you, all you, for being here and asking the questions and listening to what I got to say and all that stuff. So I appreciate all you guys for being here. Y'all are the reason why I'm here. I appreciate you, Peggy, for keeping me straight there. Cindy? Hello. And hello to everybody. Miss Donna. Make sure y'all follow Miss Donna on X, Miss Peggy on X, Miss Cindy on X. Anybody else? Make sure you follow me if you're here from YouTube and you don't follow me on X. My name's my name right there. Y'all see it. Linda B. Hoax family involved sheriff covering Savannah Guthrie knows, in my opinion. There's, and that's the crazy part is, what kind of pizza do y'all like? With tomato sauce or with Alfredo sauce? I like a tomato sauce with mine. I'm just saying. Hoax family involved. So there's so many different elements right there just in that statement. Is it a hoax? Is the family involved? Is the sheriff covering? Is Savannah Guthrie knows? And that's another thing. What if? Okay, so let's think about this. What if it was Annie and Tommaso, and Savannah don't know that they're the ones who actually did it? I mean, what if it was Savannah and Annie and Tommaso don't know that she had it done because of whatever reason? There's so many questions we don't know. Yep, the Central Standard Time peeps have to keep each other in line on these time changes. I'm telling you. Let me get me something. I'll throw it that way because that's the way you are towards Texas. We have to keep each other straight. So, but yeah, I mean, it's one of those things, y'all. Get out your notebook. You hand it down a notebook and start writing down some questions and all that stuff. And hopefully we'll, I plan on being more active on YouTube and all that stuff. You know, now I got some time. So, I said the same thing. Somebody was asking Alex, last night on Alex's channel, somebody was talking about the fact that about Tommaso and not being on the internet. I think it was, if I remember correctly, it was about Tommaso and you can't find any information on all that stuff. Savannah's husband, that's what his business is about, is racing information. I mean, he did it for the Clintons. So, he is a internet bleacher. But what if? So the comments and things about Savannah's ratings tanking and all that stuff, I'd made comments about that before. You know, what if her ratings were tanking and she was in fear of being cut? Granted, I know she was under contract and all that stuff. It's one of those things where when you're under a contract, consider the fact that if they don't fulfill their obligation of the contract to allow her to work up until this thing, when she signs it and says, you know, I'll do 8 years for, I'm just making numbers up here, 8 years for $8 million, which would be $1 million a year. If they cut her off at year 6 of that contract, then I'm sure her contract says not only just they had to pay her $2 million, but they had to pay her a separation thing of cutting her off early and not giving her those extra 2 years at $2 million. But now they have to give her an additional $10 million because they cut her off early. That's how those contracts are written. So, you know, yeah, they will hold on to you and keep you as an ABC employee, NBC, CBS. I don't know. All those damn letters, you know. I'm used to the rotary dial where you had to go outside and turn your hands and all that stuff to get your antenna to line up. So I don't remember CBS, ABC, CBG, DBD, all that stuff. So whoever she works for, whoever the Today Show's on, whatever network, I guess, what if they had to give her X amount of dollars in order to void her contract? Not void it, but to end her contract in the sense that they had to let her go early. And so now she's got a new word game. And if she's still an employee, she still gets paid her $1 million a year to be under that contract until that contract ends because her ratings have dropped. And that's what they do with people, is they give them a deal. Again, there's more to it than just that. I'm just stating, think about those things in the sense of she has a contract. And if she can't fulfill her end of the contract, or she says, you know, hey, at the end of my contract, you know, I'm putting, you know, I'm going on type thing. So there's all kind of things in those contracts that we don't know about because we're not in that contract, but those things are in those contracts. So, and where the heck are A&T? We have no idea where Annie Tommaso is. I think somebody said that. I don't know. I don't know where they said they were at, type deal. So, no idea. A lot of teachers are very private, though, because crazy kids and parents. Understood, agreed, all that stuff. They're just crazy stuff. But I think they verified that they're not at home. Somebody went up and knocked on the door and somebody else answered the door type deal. I don't know. yes, under contracts is what I was saying. You are right about. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff about the contracts that there's so many ways you can just sit down and think about all that. So stop thinking about that. So we just hit the 3-hour mark, folks. So we got to wrap it up. I think, and I may come back on here in a little bit, but I may join JLR stream. I may join Alex's stream or Ted's, any of that stuff. Any of those guys want me on the stream, all they gotta do is send me an invite type deal. They have JLR has my phone number. I know for sure. Y'all know he's called me. I've called him type deal. So let's see what any last minute questions or comments before I shut this down for the 3-hour mark and have dinner real quick. And then again, I may jump back on here shortly. If you could ask Dennis one question, knowing he would answer honestly, what would you ask? Donna, I can't even begin. I can't even begin because I can't narrow it down to one. But again, I don't feel that he's involved. I think he's done wrong as a sheriff. There's things, and that's in law enforcement across the board. There's things that have happened. People do stuff, and yeah, he probably shouldn't be the sheriff currently, but he was elected. He is the sheriff, and so therefore, what would resigning now? What would it do? It wouldn't change a thing. In the sense of, yeah, it would give those guys a little bit of freedom, but now look who's second in command. I mean, now we're finding out stories about him type thing. I don't think it's going to change the effort because I'm telling you, no matter, even if you work for a crappy sheriff that he won't let you do this, the deputies on the streets, they'll get together and say, I'm tired of this stuff right here. This is what we're going to do. Yeah, I'll go do my job because that's what I'm told to do. And I have obligations and I have a departmental policies and stuff like that I have to follow. But we'll go get this person involved or that person involved. And people will do that kind of stuff, and they'll cause more hate and discontent than just the indirect stuff with the sheriff. So, it's just one of those things where I think the guys working the streets, they're out there doing the job the best they can under what conditions they have and who they have putting their foot on their throat type deal. Stuck. Hell no. I ain't room for another sheriff, Miss Peggy. No, I am more than happy to sit here being on YouTube and talking to you guys. Our sheriff here in the county I live in, he recently resigned after financial issues that were found in the audit type deal. I have no interest in doing any of that crap. No different than, it's one of those things where, I have never changed a little girl diaper, even my nieces, stuff like that. I've always made my wife do it. I refuse to do it, but because working in my line of work, there never was going to be a chance for anybody to ever accuse me of any misappropriate touching or anything like that. I always told my wife, and you can ask her, I have never, ever in my life changed a little girl's diaper. So, and it's because of that reason. Because I was not ever going to give somebody a chance for them to be able to say something like that. You know what I mean? So, luckily I had boys too, by the way. So all of our kids are boys. So I had to change the little boys' diapers, but in the sense of that, nobody was ever going to be able to accuse me of that craziness. So, but y'all, it's let's see, a couple more comments real quick. Sorry you have to sign off. It's not a matter of have to. I mean, I could leave y'all running. I can go eat dinner real quick and then come back in here type deal and just let y'all just stack up y'all's questions and comments. I could turn on somebody else's stream if y'all wanted to watch it from my stream, type deal. But, I didn't want y'all to be bored just sitting here. That's wild over. Let me take this off the screen so y'all can See my beautiful face and my hair. You see this? I've been meaning to tell everybody. Y'all see that right there? Y'all see that big scar right there? That's where cancer was removed from my forehead. And the doctor told me, oh, there won't be no scar and all that stuff. So she took it out and she left a big old damn dent in my forehead now. I don't know if y'all can see it right there. The big old dent in there because, oh, it won't leave a mark. And she kept coming back and digging and all that stuff. So cancer sucks. And that's, reality of it. I don't know. I have a wife. Granted, I cook a lot and all that stuff. She was going to pick up dinner, so Chili's is what it was. Chili's, the restaurant, won't be chilly for dinner. It's summertime. It's 88 degrees here. So I think she was getting me steak and potato or something like that. So I love tuna melts. I make them all the time, and I'll have to throw up some recipes for y'all sometime of some of my crazy stuff, crazy normal stuff. So this is why I answered that. I saw it come up, Peggy. No. Yeah, in a sense. But yeah, I mean, as long as you guys, sorry, I was answering two questions in one statement there. I feel sorry for the deputies. I know what it's like to have to continue working in a place you don't want to be when the person in charge is not the person you want to work for. Because if that's where your source of income is, getting paid damn good money. A lot of these places you get paid damn good money, but when the people you work for, or the chief or sheriff or the elected official is in charge of you, there's sometimes that you get tired of going to work, and you make, before decisions are made that impacts a lot of lives, sometimes it's best to walk away. And that's why I'm here, because I chose to walk away before things occurred. And I'll leave that at that for that part of the moment. Not fun if you're not here. Well, I'll try to be here more often, Miss Peggy. And if I'm here more often, y'all got to be here more often for me. Just saying. So now, Linda, be careful. That string lad's going to get you. See? I'll go change that here shortly. Before I start a new live, I'll go in there and change that and try to figure out how to adjust that, because I'll have to remember. What's his comment say? A year ago, I spent 18 and a half years driving 40 miles each way to work and crying all the way to work and all the way home. My boss died with brain cancer and his brother fired me. I understand. I mean, that's exactly what I'm talking about. I was the same way. It's 41 miles from my house to my old job. And I loved my job for 13 years. And it was those last 2 years that I was there. Well, when I was forced to get the COVID vaccine because I was federally employed, federally funded job, and I was forced to take the COVID vaccine, which I think has some factor in some of my medical situations today. But once I was forced to take the COVID vaccine, it changed me. It changed my whole needing to be there every day. My desire left me, and it just changed the way you think about things. So I'll leave that at that. So I worked for Walmart for 25 years. Walmart's a damn good company. I told my youngest son before he moved to California, I told him California, Walmart was not a bad option, and you can get on job there and transfer to California, and it was an option, and they have decent benefits. I've never worked for them, so I don't know, but I understand what you're saying. Lots of a-hole store managers and district managers, but I survived, and that's all we can do. So it's one of those things where we do our best to survive. Okay, what? Let's see. something different. So yeah, I mean, again, we just we did a 3 hour and 10 minute stream, y'all, because y'all are here and y'all are interested and y'all, you know, again, I'm not 1,400 miles to Nancy Guthrie's house. If I could be there, I'd love to be there. I'd love to give my take on things because I see things from a different mindset and perspective than just as, and again, I'm not saying anything bad about those guys out there. They have brought us the entertainment. I'd be going on road trips with them. I'd be doing all that stuff, but I would be bringing stuff in a different perspective when it's time, you know. And again, I'm not saying anything bad about those guys. I would be out there with them doing what I could to help if I was closer and I had the abilities to be there, all that stuff. So I've offered to, you know, to go out there, bring drones, blah, 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 you know, and, you know, until my YouTube channel takes off and I have income coming in from it, that's just not a possibility for me right now. So I'm just saying. But I'd love to be out there and doing my part to help out, you know, bringing you guys some stuff straight from the scene. But again, it's one of those things where for me, I don't see a point in having 7 of us lined up all showing the same thing. But it's not fair that this one gets to do it while these 6 don't, because we're here at the same thing. You know what I mean? So I don't know what the answer is to that, you know, and that's sort of why I brought the thing about shifts and all that stuff, because, you know, we know which that sucks for the person who works the overnight shift to bring video of darkness when all the stuff's happening in the daytime. Does that make sense? So it's not fair. Right? That's why everybody has their own channel and you do what you do with your channel. So, you know, it's just one of those things where, again, I'd love to provide my input out there, but unfortunately I can't be out there. So with that, y'all, I'm going to sign off for now. I may be back in a little bit. I may do a little bit of painting here in a little bit. I went and got some new colors and stuff today. I need to work on some stuff. So I may do some of that. I may just sit here and talk to y'all again. It may be tomorrow. I may jump on and restream somebody else. Let's say JLR goes live at 6. So I may jump on and restream him, or I may jump in his stream if he wants me to. We'll just have to see. But anyway, either way, I appreciate you guys for stopping in to my channel, interacting with me on X, and I hope to see you guys on my next one. Make sure you follow, hit that subscribe button on YouTube, and hit the notification so you know when the next time I'm going live, because this is what makes it, is the questions y'all bring and all of our discussion and all that stuff. So I appreciate you all, and I shall see you on the next show. So much love, and thanks for being here.